bright. Hey, Scooby-Doo.
I got a Stitch shirt.
We're late. Woo!
Well, we always are. It's because...
Almost an hour. It's because... Okay, so tonight we're starting something new. Sorry, I have Poppy. I'm eating a bagel, so that's why it's social eating, because I'm late.
Your bagel?
In a minute. Let me have some first. So, we're doing... Back to our Talking Tuesdays. No, that's not new. But we're doing a new form.
We haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, Ridley. We haven't seen you in so long. I missed you.
I just realized your things look really cute.
Thanks. You like my little... It fell out, but it's like their little buns.
I think they're cute as little ponytails. It gives you youth.
I was putting them like this because my hair, when it's wet, it's at the length
After
where it like
this is
sits
'cause
on
I'm
my
feeling
shoulders.
wounds on my face, so I have to have my hair like this.
Yes. So, I'll leave it as my little pigtails. Bing, bing. Yes. We're doing now our talks with PowerPoints attached because talking was just boring, and we had this.
We
thing...
thought that was going to slow us down, but Melanie also made a 63.
So I can't be here every time. Hey, that's okay. We appreciate just seeing you, even if it's at the beginning for like 5 minutes. It's still good to see you. You know, we haven't seen. We were just like, oh,
You're like the first person that joined
yeah,
us. Of course,
first,
we're going to be excited.
Actual friend on the internet, so it's just nice to see you back, even if you just need to take a break or sleep. I understand that.
I mean,
me too,
sleep
honestly.
is important. We obviously.
It's almost 2 a.m. again. But thank you.
We do have these recorded.
Yeah, like we see that you comment on our YouTube channel, so we know you're there, which is really nice. Yeah,
she squealed for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, getting comments is so exciting, like getting views and stuff. I don't know, that's really cool. We have today.
The idea was to have PowerPoints, so hopefully we don't go on forever, but Melanie went on to 63 slides, so clearly that's not going to happen.
Well, mine's not even 15 characters, I don't think. It's going to be our first one. We have like this whole, I can give you a little peek, we have a whole...
That's just my Discord.
A whole Discord of stuff. That's just, ideas and things.
That's just you.
That's just us and her.
This one's...
Yeah. And our first one this week. Next week we're doing the ones that we're in love with. This week we're doing characters we like that we think everyone else hates. For me, it's we think. Evie knows. She's knowledgeable. She knows what people hate. For me, it's what I think people hate because I really hate negative stuff.
No.
So I just never look at. So I don't know what people hate. I don't know what they like and I don't know what they hate.
I think hate might be. I think it's more like the fact of characters you feel you have to defend why you like them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I try to avoid any characters I know are popular. And people, if you said, "Hey, I go and I like." I don't know what we played recently. That's a big.
Narge.
I was looking for something bigger, but I don't know. If you go and you say you
say
like
Mario, just say Mario, Super Mario Sunshine.
I don't know. If you go and say I like Luigi, it's like, well, no one's gonna fight you on that one. They're like, okay, cool, whatever. But if you're the person who's gonna say I like Princess Elise, someone's gonna fight you on that. So that's what I
because she kissed Sonic, and that's weird.
It was weird, but that isn't. Honestly, she's not that bad. If you really cut that moment out, she doesn't do anything really that bad. Not anything more than like a Princess Peach or even a Princess Zelda would do. Honestly, she's just a stereotypical princess, and she's at least a little bit more useful than some of the other ones. So, if you really cut that last thing out, she does nothing really that offensive. Her biggest issue is not doing a lot with the plot, you know. And if that's your most egregious offense, then you know. Still saying that's a weird moment, and I don't know why they did it, but I get why what they were going for. They were trying to get, like, you know, fairy tale princess sort of thing of, you know, you do this, magic stuff happens, and like, yeah, you just didn't telegraph it right.
Yeah.
I know what you were trying to do. You just didn't do it right.
This is part one of, like, many, because there's a lot of characters we like. We're also going to do, you know, games we like that people don't like, and then we'll also be doing the opposite. Characters we hate that everyone just loves.
We entirely blame this on us playing nights, because now I'm on a total Sonic high, because I've been reminded that I was a Sega fan.
Sega kick.
So,
right now
I'm just
am
like,
getting into
all the Sonic games. I'm going to replay all the Sonic games.
Yeah, I'm right now, like, still in Fire Emblem, but, like, now I'm half step into Dangan Ronpa again, because I watched the animation with my little sister. My heart hurts. I'm in pain. We watched 3, like, really good animes over the Easter weekend. We watched ID Invaded, which is just one season. I think it might just only be the one season. It's from 2020. It's really new. So good. So good. Really hit me in the heart. And then Danganronpa, which the first one.
I mean, if an
I
anime
love
is not
that
hitting you
game.
in the heart, is it really an anime?
Honestly, I love that. At first, I was like, I don't know. now that I've watched the animation again, I want to buy and play. Like, I love the first game. That's why I'm afraid of the next two, because I'm like, oh, they'll ruin it. It was so good, but it might be better. And
optimism is always a good thing.
And then we began watching Promised Neverland, which is about kids getting sold to demons to eat. So of course it's gonna be depressed. Yeah, but she was like, it doesn't hit as hard as Dangan Ronpa did. And I was like, okay, because I didn't want to watch My Hero Academia because I was already too emotional from Dangan Ronpa. Anyways.
If you want to go out on a limb, why didn't you watch any of the other Persona ones?
I don't even know there's more. Oh, no, I didn't want to.
Okay.
I didn't want to do anything that I liked, because I can only do so much in one day. She's like, no, this is fine. You won't get emotionally attached to anything. I'm sitting here, I was like, but I like this kid. He's like Shadow if he was a human, or Gladion if he was a little black-haired baby.
Gladion is literally human in Shadow.
Literally. So,
before Sonic Colors.
Are you ready to start presenting yours? Because I'll eat while...
Yeah, I guess so.
Yay! So here's how it's gonna go. We're going to do... We haven't looked at each other's PowerPoints yet.
Although, I'm gonna say that I think we just went about them in very different ways.
Yeah, so all we said to each other was the prompt of characters we love that everyone else hates. And we didn't work in the same room, we didn't talk all day, because we wanted to make sure...
Which probably wasn't entirely smart, but...
I think it's more fun that way. So we're gonna see, she did character she loves. She has big brain, lots of research, so she knows people that actually hate these characters. We're gonna do hers because mine obviously is excessively long.
I tried to group them based on topic, but
you might have to catch mine on the VOD because you might fall asleep. So sorry, but it's good sleeping time because we're just talking today. No loud sound effects, just this calming, nice music, and
that's all we've been doing for the last 2 Fridays, though. Is calming, nice music. The most yelling is whenever you get frustrated about what you're playing.
Honestly. So go ahead and do this. I'm gonna eat my bagel because I like skip lunch to keep working my PowerPoint. I just got really into pictures. You want to take any
predictions?
I'm assuming. Well, you told me that you did RWBY, Steven Universe, Sonic, and something else I don't remember. Pokemon. I didn't touch Pokemon RWBY or Sonic. I grazed the surface of only the Fire Emblem games I've personally played.
That's fine.
Because we could do whole PowerPoints on part. So perfect yeah, exactly. That's just fall asleep tonight, put us on again tomorrow. Fall asleep to the VOD tomorrow. This is the perfect sleeping podcast for sure. And
I'm pretty sure we're gonna get heated.
Heated? Like, oh yeah. But it's fine. Not until because we're gonna do, since we don't know if we have any overlap, obviously that's cool. We're gonna be able.
We already know we're
she'll
gonna
be presenting
on Sonic because there's only so many characters.
She'll be presenting, and then. Is that better?
Yes.
And then I can comment on hers, and when I present, obviously she can comment on mine, but we'll probably pick different characters because it's all personal tastes. I tried to only pull from games that I could think of off the top of my head, so I could keep it shorter. And
that
63 slides.
Clearly that didn't
I
work.
have like 4 slides per person because it's mostly pictures, so it's okay. And then Evie used big brain.
You went like full on, here's the reason people hate them. I'm like, I'm just gonna freewheel that.
Here's part 1 of like 90. Evie, go ahead.
Yeah! We also need to move our box so you can't see the names.
I actually planned it so that our faces would be down here for my PowerPoints. Do you have a specific place you want our camera to be? Is right here okay?
Yeah, that should be fine, and most will cut off the last bullet point, but I can always say that out loud.
Yeah, you can see on the screen. I made it so none of my pictures touch this corner. That's why it took so long.
See, you saying she did the big brain things, like you were clearing things out way more than I did. Anyway, so
and you also used fan. I only used official art because I didn't want.
You know how hard it was to find that.
So that's why it also took me so freaking long. Anyways, go ahead.
Wait, well, because you can't find her except for like the Child of Dusk thing she has. Like you can't find her in a normal outfit otherwise, and that's definitely her best outfit. So yeah, I mean, this is to the surprise of absolutely no one. Yeah, well, Corin's kind of complicated, and that's why I'm gonna go here. Love her.
Oh, I gotta move. Let me move our little chat thing. She can't see that either. Oh. It's okay. You can keep talking. I'm just gonna move it over here.
So, Corin's kind of complicated. And this is literally, like, my last point here says guilty pleasure immediately. Like, I know a lot of people don't like this character. Absolutely. And I could not care less. She's my favorite person to play as in Fire Emblem Warriors. Like playing her in Smash. I just love... I have, like, 2 builds of her and 2 different characters in Violent Heroes. I got her amiibo. You know, I just really like this character for whatever reason. I think something about her very naive, hopeful vibe just really resonates with me because that's how I am. So I'm like, if I was in her situation, I probably would have reacted the exact same way. for better or for worse, honestly, even down to the fact of like, I don't want anyone to get hurt. I'm so sorry about this. And some people see that as weakness, but nope, that would have been totally me in that situation. I would have been like, no, don't hurt each other, please. And then people will get hurt, and then I would feel guilty afterwards.
See, you have actual reasons. Your bullet point that just says "is a dragon" is very similar to all the bullet points in mine. One of them is just like hot.
Oh yeah. Well, that's good to know.
So go ahead, keep going. Use your very smart big brain. If you need us to move the camera at any point, I think I'll just move it for every second.
I don't know what you just moved, but it wasn't the camera.
I think I'll just move us for every slide so you can kind of see what's going on. Oop. Want to become famous? Yes. Keep going, Evie.
But, yeah, also, she can turn to a dragon. How is that not awesome? Her design's just really cool to me for some reason. I just think she, like, especially in, and this is something else before I'm going to go into why I like her in Conquest, is like, so that second last one is something that I think me and Malin both agree on. She's best outside of her game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's better when she's not an avatar character, when she is just a character, and that's why I think in some ways Fates would have been better if she was just the Lord, period.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was, or his name. I mean, they do actually this better with Byleth. Byleth is a set character. You can change their name. Exactly, right? We're gonna be famous. But,
I want to be famous.
But Byleth is a set character who you cannot change the appearance of and who already has a built-in backstory. You can change them to a degree, but I think that's honestly how Corrin would have functioned a lot better. Because as a, like, just, you know, hopeful dragon princess and stuff like that, she works much better, and we can see this in Warriors and in Fire Emblem Heroes, where she's just a character, not the avatar character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I really agree with that on a lot of points, because I think that she has enough character on her own that kind of making her blank slate-ish, I say ish because she's not really, honestly, to be the avatar character and therefore fit any role and be more relatable, just didn't work as well for her. And I think, though, that she's definitely my favorite in Conquest, which I definitely have to say is the best of the 3 Fire Emblem Fates past. It just has the better story, has way more memorable cast. The entire Norian family is awesome. I could have put any of them on this list because most of them, like, are seen as the bad guys.
I have
and
some
honestly,
on my list.
I didn't
so don't worry, I got you.
I didn't want to put
one
them
of them on my list.
I didn't want to put them on here because I felt that it wasn't quite right. Because honestly, no one really hates, like...
I think the actual reason, I guess, a quick summary, Evie obviously knows a lot more. She can go into the quick summary is actually the Smash DLC. She was released for a Smash character before the game was released in the West. So because I read this when I was looking up reasons, I only did Reddit research for mine. Like, I was just like, what are the most misliked characters, and then I just went down and pulled out the ones I really like. She was released before the game was out over here, so she was like Roy, where only people who were in Japan knew who she was, and her character. The rest of us were like, oh, another foreign character we don't know, sword user, light, whatever. So it's like, I think a lot of people just were mad because instead of getting, they always are with the Smash things, you know? And instead of getting Crash Bandicoot, whoever they were hoping for, they got another Fire Emblem character out of 1,000 characters by now.
And spoiler, there are at least 2 other characters on this list who have the same exact thing, which I have to say, wrong place, wrong time. There's nothing, I think, explicitly wrong with Corrin, because actually all the Fire Emblem lords are paint by number 2.
Yes, literally that.
The fact that you can actually say it's another Fire Emblem character thing is actually quite insulting. Not from you, but the fact that exists in the Smash fan base, I'm like, you got a new character, who cares where it came from?
Yeah,
they gave you another character. They could have not.
Look at us flying around the screen.
You know?
More so, it's more so just the Smash fan base.
They're kind of entitled at this
quite
point.
Toxic.
They're pretty entitled right now.
Also, the Fire Emblem fan base isn't quite much better because when it was smaller, it was easier to get away with characters like Marth in his game and all those people who they don't have to have great characters. It's a Fire Emblem game. Once you got to this one came right after Awakening, which was their big, explosive, big summer blowout moment. And then they came into this game, which is a very good game, but a lot of people, they had a lot of new fans who hadn't struggled through the horrors of the old game. They're like, this isn't the best thing. They're like, they wanted a 3 houses, but they wanted on a 3DS in like 2017. You know, like before before it was ready. And I think that's why, from at least my perspective, the unresearched perspective, is just this.
Oh yeah, that's the issue, is exactly
Yes.
that.
Thank you very much.
And
correct.
The thing is that, and this is something that's true of Corrin, and is true of the next character on this list, I think, is that they are characters that people literally judge because they are Fire Emblem characters, even for people that never played the game. And the funny thing is that a lot of people went and hated on the Smash DLC, and then bought 3 houses, and like, wow, this series is amazing! Amazing, you know, when you go and look at the actual source material, you kind of understand why people like the character. And Fates honestly has a lot of issues. And honestly, it reminds me a lot of whenever I go into news, I hear more about Balan Wonderworld. And it's less about the game that I keep hearing, it's more about stuff surrounding the game, which I think is kind of unfair. Fate's got a bad rap, and don't get me wrong, it's not a perfect game. There are some serious issues in some serious areas. But it's not a bad game, nor is it not functional, nor is it not fun. It's just not necessarily the smash hit Awakening was. The biggest thing that Fates ran into was censorship issues. It hit some really big bumps on censorship.
It lost a significant portion of the support mechanic because it was very heavily Japanese based in terms of their culture. Like skinship and stuff, obviously something we don't have a lot of in the West. It's
a bigger thing in Japanese culture.
It's not really a thing here. So that was a significant part of their support mechanic and their marriage mechanic.
It was weird.
And then coming here, everyone was like, "You're petting your sister?
Okay.
Is this okay?" Like, some people would have probably, and then all the waifu simulator, everyone blah blah blah.
But
let's go back and play Genealogy: The Holy War. That 60,000-hour game where you have to get married, have 3 generations of kids in order to play the game.
And
I'm gonna fight you now.
The other thing that it had issues was the fact that it was in 3 versions, so people had to buy hypothetically 3 different games in order to get the full story. And again, I also kind of believe that, but at the same time, we also have Pokemon that's doing the exact same thing. I can't help but wonder if Nintendo just went and looked and said, "Hey, this works for Pokemon. Let's try it on Fire Emblem," because this was their first, like, one after Awakening where they weren't officially declared a main IP until after Awakening. So I have to wonder if Nintendo had a hand in that. And you know, Sega's stupid. I trust them arguably more than Nintendo though. Because sometimes Nintendo does things that are just a little, I wonder about. And the other thing is that Fates took a year to get here. Is like you said, it was in Japan for a year before it came to the West. Why was there that huge delay? There's never been that huge of a delay with any of the Western releases.
It's like Persona 5 Strikers.
It's like, why did it take so long?
And people are sitting here like, we really want this game. And it's just not coming, you know?
And then in the typical armament, another sort of, oh.
I know!
Actually, there's a funny thing about that. I told her about this like last week. On April 1st, Sakurai, the one who does, you know, all the character choices, he literally did a 57-minute long presentation on all the characters they couldn't include because they were sword users. So, okay, we can't have Master Chief, he has a laser sword. We can't have Chrono from Chrono Trigger, he's mainly a sword user. Oh, and we can't have Waluigi because I have him with a sword.
Yeah!
I was like,
Waluigi with a sword. If you look at just our amiibos back here,
it's just a common weapon is the issue. Is like, it's not even really...
4 of them have swords.
The only one
Kirby has a sword. Kirby's a sword user.
So you can't have Smash characters have swords. The only place where that is an applicable argument is the Fire Emblem characters because they have multiple medieval weaponry. There's so many characters in so many different kinds of media that use swords. Literally. They always have.
I was like, I don't know what, because they're saying that. But okay, would you rather have had Titana instead of Ike? No. As much as you like them, she's an ex, but you would have wanted Ike. Everyone wants Ike.
Well, just think about it. We wouldn't have had Link in any form. Zelda's used a sword before. Ganondorf has a sword now.
Hero from Dragon Quest, whatever.
Shulk has a sword. The new Mithra, whatever in the other one, they have swords. Like you had Sephiroth has a sword. Cloud has a sword.
They're like only sword users.
It's just kind of an
if
typical
they couldn't have
weapon.
If they want Sora from Kingdom Hearts, he uses a sword.
It's just a key-shaped sword.
Every single character from that game uses a sword, except for Donald and Goofy. Literally.
Oh, Minecraft Fighter uses a sword too.
Thank you. He's got a sword, even if he doesn't use it in battle. But like, they're like, oh, a sword. Yeah, well, Corrin can be a dragon too.
That's the thing.
Robbie can use tomes.
I think that Corrin got too much hate, and honestly, I will kind of give them points for the fact that, you know, they do focus a lot more on her water dragon aspects.
Which is nice.
But also, Nintendo just really has bad timing with the Fire Emblem DLC characters. Bad timing on Corrin, bad timing on Byleth. Just like, wow, you did not read the water very well at all.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, they also have the Pokemon Unite fiasco, where I'm like, wow, you really did not look at the fandom at all to see what they were thinking about.
Let me drop the ball.
Oh man, the dislikes on that went up by the thousands in like minutes. Anyway, so back onto Corrin. And so, I want to let's get away from Smash for a minute, or we're never going to get through this list.
Sorry. This is why it worked so well last Friday when you were by yourself, because you probably had a solid train of thought. Not mine that goes like this.
I mostly just went and talked about things. But anyway, back to the thing I was saying about with Fates, and, is that the issue with Fates was more the things around the game before the game itself explicitly. And that's why I think, in a way, I don't know, I haven't played it yet, but I think it's in a way why Balan Wonderworld is being bashed right now, is because it had a lot of things that happened before the game came out. Mm-hmm. So people are looking for a reason to hit it. And I think that's kind of unfair. Because that's kind of what happened to Fates. Fates is not, because people will now say, Fates ruined the franchise. Fates was the black sheep. Fates was a pile of steaming trash. And I'm like,
let's look at the
really
numbers.
Not.
Let's look at the numbers, baby.
It's one of the best-selling games. Even if you combine all three of them, it's Conquest and Birthright still sold really, really well.
Did it outsold Awakening?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if both of them outsold Awakening, but they definitely were like some of the highest-grossing things. And then the thing is, like, the one everyone is saying is the one of the best in the series, which I votes out because I've not played it, admittedly. Echoes didn't sell very well. And that's just the way the ball rolls, you know? It's kind of like, because this game succeeded, we get more Fire Emblem games. We got Warriors, we got the mobile game, we got Echoes, which is literally an experimentation of remastering an old Fire Emblem game. And now we have Three Houses, which knows how to do the split paths better in a singular game because Fates existed. It's kind of like how Sonic 06 rippled out and changed how they made games, arguably for the worst. But
for the worst.
But the thing is, it's like, this game is not broken in any way. It doesn't have glitches. I mean, Fire Emblem games never have glitches. It doesn't have, like, with anything, the RNG can get a little crazy. But it's like, it's not... Yeah, she didn't even play Conquest, so it's very brutal in Conquest. But I never felt like it was unfair, or I felt like I didn't have all the tools needed to succeed. I just had to rack my brain a little bit more. And Conquest honestly has the best storyline because you are playing as the quote-unquote bad guys. The biggest thing I think the story had issues with the leaning was just, they leaned too hard sometimes, and Nora was supposed to be the bad guys, and then you learn about them in the royal family, and you're like, oh, you sweet poor children.
Bro, I was sitting here playing, I was playing Birthright. No knowledge about it, and I was like, I want to choose Nora because I feel bad for them.
They're the family that raised you.
I can tell they're not really evil.
Like, they care about you, so the fact you have to go against them hurts way more than the family you were born into. Mm-hmm. Because you don't know them. You don't remember them.
Found family all the way, baby. Can you put this on the table?
So, it's just like, Conquest I think is just a better fit, because you're the underdog in Conquest. From literally the first level, when you enter, the king's already trying to kill you. And your siblings are standing there as vanguard to protect you, along with all your retainers. It really shows you where your friends are, where your allies are, because trust matters so much more.
Spoiler alert, you're not even really related to the other ones. You're related to none of them. So if you choose Birthright and then you play Revelations, you're like, oh shoot, I killed my found family for my real family that isn't even my real family, and now I'm just with these strangers that I grew up with for like 5 years when I was a kid? Dang, that sucks. I'm like, yeah, you made that choice.
And I think the growth for Corrin, I think, is just, at least in terms of female Corrin, because we've already talked about this. Male Corrin is canonical to Birthright, which is arguably the more Sacred Stones story. It's fine, it's playful, it's
easy.
It's easy, but it's not as deep.
No.
And
no.
No,
it's not.
Has a lot more depth to it because you are the light.
A lot more depth to it. Ew.
Actually, there's more deaths in Birthright than there are in Conquest. If you add them up, there's actually more people dying in Birthright. In terms of unavoidable deaths. But the thing is that with Conquest, you're, like, the other one, you're just, okay, there's an invading country, we're gonna beat them, which is standard Fire Emblem affair, there's nothing wrong with it, it works every time. But Conquest was like, you were the light in the darkness, where, like, you knew the place was corrupt from within, so you literally have to go get your allies, get your family, and pretty much turn this country around for the better.
It feels more Fire Emblem.
It does,
in the
a
first
way.
one. Which is, would never rag on Birthright, because I do love it. It was the first Fire Emblem game I ever played through on my own.
It is a good game.
But I can say, it's probably more akin to what you have experienced in Sacred Stones, but even then, it's like you never really feel justified, even though you're supposed to be fighting the bad guys. You never feel like Fire Emblem is always about you're a royal, you're in some war, and there's some demon king, dragon,
always the dragon,
holy god that you're fighting against. You're fighting another kingdom to get to that upper being. You kill him, you win, you save the world. This one, it's like there's not a dragon you're fighting against. You're using dragon veins.
Like, you know you're doing things that are technically on the wrong side, but you're doing them with a greater purpose in mind.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like from the Norian perspective, at least, you're like, well, you know, we're going through these trials and this hardship, and we can see the evil right there. When you're in Birthright, you don't really see King Garon, who's the evil king. You don't see it. You know he's evil, but you're spending this whole time fighting the underlings. I was like, I never felt good about that.
And why does the ending of Birthright hurt? Not because of the final boss, but because you had to face your family, and you feel like a horrible human being for doing so.
And you have to kill your siblings.
Oh gosh, that hit so much harder than it did. Because Conquest, you're just kind of like Birthright, it's nice. Every once in a while, they gut punch you and it really hurts. And at the end, they just go in it and you were just broken. Conquest, they start punching you from the beginning, so by the time you get to the end, you're like, I am made of steel by now. That still hurts.
No, that's why I feel like that's probably another reason why I like Revelations more, is because you find that ultimate evil that you're going against. Obviously, everyone lives. That's my favorite part.
Yes.
But it finally feels like Fire Emblem in the way that you are your troop, you're your nation, whatever, going against some other evil nation to fight off your evil god dragon.
And I honestly like the beginning, until you enter the third nation, like, I really
then
think...
then it gets off the rails.
Yeah,
it goes a little too mysticky.
Well, it's more like they didn't take time to really dig into the nice, deep, mystical, this is a world of essentially the undead. And, like, they could have dug into that more, but... essentially, it's kind of like, this was the third path, you should have focused on it a little bit more and spent more time there.
Yeah, it's like they had the two full levels. Games, and then they just kind of, and then they're like, DLC ending, instead of like,
Revelations
3, you know?
Is really cool when it's dealing with the two nations, because then you have to be like, okay, before it was just like, well, we're fine because of loyalty to our country. When you go in Revelations, you're literally on no one's side, so everyone's trying to kill you, and you literally are there with your one, like, butler guy and the singer, and you're literally going around, we're a mighty trio of 3, and you're going up to armies and saying, hey, join us!
That's the best part, when it's just you, your butler, and the singer who's your, like, cousin?
Something like that.
She's like, you're both adopted. She's like your adopted cousin, but then you find out at the end she's actually like your your blood cousin, because you two are from the only... Long story short, the best thing
just say it's complicated.
Going around like that gave you a true Fire Emblem feel, because it brought you back to, you know, Sacred Stones. You got Erika and Seth running away from Valter. It gives you your Marth running away from whoever, you know, taking his 2 trusted people, running away from the evil guys. That's what it feels like. You have this feeling of, oh my gosh, it's us against the world, and it gives you more, you bond more, because you feel more at stake, more is at risk, less of,
like,
well,
you really can trust no one.
In Birthright, I'm like, I have my army of 45 people against these 12 units. All of us are like level 60,000. I don't care, I'm fine. I got ninja, I can attack you from afar. I can't even get damaged. Boom, I have 4 archers. I have 3 ninjas. Yeah, I changed other people into archers because I could. Boom, boom, boom. My holy weapon is a bow. Die.
Yeah,
also my sword can attack from 2 spaces away. I'm literally untouchable. You can't touch me.
The other reason I think Conquest has a stronger starting lineup, because actually when you go back to the capital, you do have no one. It is literally you and your butler thrown out into the wilderness because the king was trying to kill you. And thankfully, one of your siblings tagged along behind you and sends their retainers to help you. But yeah, she sends Arthur and Effie to go and help you. But the thing is like, you literally start being swarmed by monsters. You were literally not supposed to fight monsters. You were supposed to be passing through and they set a trap for you. That's how quickly they're like, nope, we're gonna try and kill her right off the bat. You already know that you're among enemies.
Word.
And so you're literally...
Okay.
And you're on your own, originally. And thankfully, Jacob never leaves your side, so he was following you and able to help you, and then it's just the 2 of you stuck for a while.
I think female Corrin's canon... There should be 2. I think both of them should be... I think her canon pairing should be Jacob. I think her canon pairing should be Jacob, and then I think
he's just like a more
male Corrin's could be anybody, but I think he goes well with Niles.
Yeah.
Which I didn't see that when I originally played the game, but then I saw a lot of people online being like, hey, we kind of like this moment we're having.
Well, he's definitely a better gay option than a female gay option. Still angry about
Let's
that.
not talk about that.
Still angry
No,
about
let's
that.
not talk about that. I just think that's
Why couldn't her female gay option be a
good
Zero or
because
something?
I obviously didn't play as Milkhorn, so I don't know like who he pairs well with.
Yeah.
But I intermarried in Revelations. I intermarried all my siblings because I was like, well, I'm gonna marry them to who sounds best. And a lot of times it was across royals, and
Because the families are strong on both sides.
yeah, I married with Leo because that made more like I wanted to marry Takumi, but the supports ran better with Leo, so I ended up marrying Leo. So I got them married across. And I was like, some of them, it's like, it was their best option, but even then, it still kind of felt me. So it's like, I wouldn't, if I had a choice, I just wouldn't marry Camilla. And I probably actually wouldn't marry Ryoma either.
They just feel too strong to be with anyone.
Xander, maybe, he's got to find someone who softens him.
Yeah.
Sakura and Elise, I wouldn't marry because they're kids. It's weird.
I feel like if you
I
had
literally
to
only
get-
wanted to get the kids, but honestly, I wouldn't get any of the royal family married. I'd get Leo and Takumi married to each other because out of the whole game, they have the most chemistry in their sports out of any single character. And that's saying, and Niles is there. Niles loves to be suggested.
They openly get one.
Yeah. So it's like, there's just, even if it's just friendship chemistry, they still just have the most chemistry, and I feel like that game, you have to marry one to get the kids, but if I had a choice, like if I wasn't doing it for completion, I just wouldn't get the kids, because I just felt like the marriage mechanic was empty, in my opinion. There was like 2 or 3 people, like I would get Cora married to Jacob, because I felt like that works better than if she got married to Silas, or I got married to Kaze my first playthrough. That works too, but I feel like he fits with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Jacob, his really only true one that fits the best is with Corin. So I feel like that would be like her, you know how like Crom and Robin are canon pairing pretty much?
Pretty much.
I think her and Jacob should really just be that. And
He's-
then male
especially
Corin
in
can go with
Conquest
whoever.
has a lot of just moments of devotion where you're just like, I'm glad you're backing me up. Because
Not
I
against
need
me, dog.
I need all the help I can get, because gosh, they throw so many knives at your back in Conquest.
Get it? Because they're maids and butlers are dagger units. They throw knives.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
their
They
weapon.
can make you tea and stab a person. So what's better than that? But that's the thing that I think
The worst
works
part is
best-
actually in the end of Revelations, I didn't use Jacob Block because he was too strong.
Yeah,
I needed to train. He was too strong. He can heal and he can throw daggers from any range. Like, he was too strong. I had to use other units. I couldn't use them anymore.
That's why I think female Corin works best in Conquest, because it makes more sense for her to go from essentially the shelter princess to having to toughen up because the situation demands it. It's the only way to keep the people she cares about safe. As opposed to Birthright, where it's kind of like, I'm the protector for the sake of being protecting. I think that works better for male Corin.
Yeah.
He's protecting his sisters most of the game, because you don't get the brothers till much later. You get, you actually get them in chronological order, more or less, because Camilla and Leo show up really close to each other. So you more or less have the 3 of them for a while before you get Xander. And the thing is like, you have this whole, like, feeling of they're trying their best to protect you, and so you kind of grow to protect them, and, like, there's a lot of lessons, especially from Camilla and Leo, who go and tell you, yeah, this is the way, we don't like being like this, but we have to be so we can protect ourselves. They have a much stronger sense of, we protect our found family, because none of us are really that related. But
Very yucky tasting. It doesn't taste bad, but I had it after I ate a grape.
and that tasted bad.
It doesn't taste good on its own, I'm gonna be honest. But it tastes even worse. Because it's just healthy stuff. It's like spinach and oatmeal. And it's got frozen
look
fruit.
up a recipe for
No,
it?
I just made it. Oh, because when I'm drinking, like when I'm working, I don't need to taste stuff. It's just I need to have that constant something in my mouth. Like gum works, I just don't have
This
gum
right
on me
now
all the
is
time.
not that moment.
No, that stuff's nasty. But it's got like protein, flax milk in it, and it's got fruit and Greek yogurt. Anyways, about in time for the next slide. Because
Yeah.
I have Fire Emblem people too, and
Yeah.
we're gonna come back to Fates in mind. So go ahead and go to your next slide,
But anyway.
finishing statement.
So finish
And we'll come back in probably a half an hour to Fates again when we do my
Exactly.
PowerPoint.
So I think that, like, female Corin has kind of an asterisk as far as, like, I think she's best, arguably, outside of her own game, where she can kind of go and grow a little bit. And if she's going to be somewhere, she has to be in Conquest, because I think her growth from essentially being the sheltered, naive princess to, I don't lose my ideals, but now I have to be made of steel on the outside because I need to protect myself to protect others. That's way better than I'm just strong to fight the bad guys because the bad guys are fighting me. I like it better where she's like, no, I know I have to harden my heart while still keeping essentially my resolve. And she has to learn that. Literally, villages get massacred because she almost lets on that she's against the king. She almost gets killed by that at least 3 times. And she has to eventually learn that, yes, I have to hide it, when literally her siblings are, like, when you have to go against your Hoshiin siblings.
Mm.
She's by that point learned to hide her tears of literally just seeing her oldest brother kill himself for her safety. And
Next slide, you're making me sad.
the only person
you're
you can
making
show
me
it
so
to
sad.
is Azura, because that's the only one
Stop
she can
killing
show it.
characters I really love.
Anyway, so now we're into Violet.
This one should go a little faster because I can't speak as much on it, so it won't be as much
it will be
deflection.
faster. But anyway, I put the either on this one because honestly, Violet is one that kind of their character works for either gender.
Like how hot male Byleth is.
I know, male Violet looks awesome too. I have female Violet because that's who I play as, but honestly, both Violets work.
Female Byleth can get
And
it.
so this is going to be part of what we were talking about
Male
earlier.
Byleth, I don't know why, he just hits different. It's the
I know,
hair.
it's weird.
Something about the hair.
And they're actually, I love the fact there's a very noticeable height difference between the two of them.
Because normally I'm not one for the male protagonists of the game.
They just both work.
But, man, male Byleth hits
Yeah.
different.
So we're gonna skip to like the bomb point here. Real fast.
Sorry, let me do this. There it goes. Oh,
That's the wrong thing
again. Oops, I did it again. Didn't lock my assets on Streamlabs. So they moved too much. There you go.
So we're gonna go to
baby,
the spawn part with like the hate for their Smash inclusion. This is similar to, now they don't have it as bad because Three Houses is an amazing game, so they don't arguably get as much hate as Corrin does because Corrin's in kind of a not broken game, a broken in the fan base's mind game. It's actually a really good game. But the thing is that Byleth had way too much hate thrown at them for being included in the Smash Pack. And again, it's the same exact thing as when Corrin was included. Really bad timing. Really bad timing.
Really,
if Byleth
really
had
bad
been
timing.
the first person introduced in the Smash Pack, no one would have batted an eye. If they were even the second one, because like, oh yeah, Nintendo property. Duh, they're the newest game. They're really popular right now. Why not? If they had been the second, the third, even the fourth character introduced, then no one would have hated them as much.
Cool coat thing. You have to read all your points because some of them are really funny.
Well, we're going to go through that. I just wanted to
Sorry,
get this one out of the way first, because it's not really related to the game. But the whole thing is that they just... Everyone was expecting another third-party person for the fifth person in the Smash Pack. And when they saw Byleth, they didn't even give the character a chance. They didn't care about the character, they just cared, oh, another Fire Emblem character. And honestly, Corrin and Byleth are some of the most unique, because Byleth can use 4 different weapon types. Ugh. And then they're oddly enough a heavy character, so they actually have the same weight as Ike, which is really kind of weird, but cool at the same time. But no one wanted, like, they were hating on the character before it even got released, before even anyone had demoed it, just because it was another Fire Emblem character, and it wasn't a third-party character in the DLC pack. And that's why I'm like...
You know how expensive those are?
Exactly. You know how much development goes into making each of those characters? The fact that there was once a
they have
time
to
when...
redo. Well, you can even see when you look at Joker versus his base game. His base game is in a 3D modeled world, but he obviously they completely redid the model in the Nintendo style because you can see his face is fuller, his body's less lanky. You know, he's less thief-like and more, you know, just
chic.
Nintendo-like.
And the thing is like, remember a time when we only got like 30 characters per game, and that was it?
And there was no DLC? You remember
Nothing?
Melee? You remember that game?
Remember how when Brawl came along, we're like, oh, we'll never see Mewtwo again because he was in Melee, and this is Brawl, and he's not there, so therefore he's just gone.
You got Pichu as your hidden character, you're like, no way! A hidden one? Now I get 10 characters?
And now people are complaining, oh, I hate then don't buy the DLC character. That easy. Don't need to hate on it. And the thing
Go play their base game.
Yeah, the thing I love about, though, that Byleth did do well is that a lot of people who heard all the controversy surrounding Byleth went to play the game and realized it was a really good game. So they were Fire Emblem converts afterwards. They're like, I admit, I hated this character until I played the game, and now I realize it's actually a really great game, and I totally like them. So we're going to go through the regular points. So the thing about Byleth that I think is really fascinating is the silent avatar thing works for them. It's the same reason we've talked about this before with Joker in Persona 5, who also does not really talk a whole lot.
Best protagonist I've ever seen is Joker.
Yeah, he's
best protagonist.
And the thing is that they actually... I'm going to keep away from spoilers because I don't want you to know. But essentially the thing is...
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
But the thing
is...
is...
mine I put no spoilers where I didn't want you to spoil things from you, so...
Okay.
Good thing.
But the thing is that I'll just say that they pull the thing that Violet is a blank slate is actually part of their character. They don't know why they don't know certain things about themselves.
Like Kyoko and Dangan Ronpa. She has amnesia.
Yeah, kind of. It's not quite amnesia. It's more like the fact that they're like, really? You never asked?
Well, she didn't know she had amnesia until she remembered that she had amnesia.
Now that's complicated.
Yes. It's like
But
60 hours into the game, they're like, hey, you just remembered that you forgot stuff. And she's like, no way.
But the thing is, like, for instance, people are like, how old are you? And they're like, oh, I just never thought to ask that before. Like, what? You never thought to ask your own age? And
no, because
like,
I should know.
I just never did. Like, the thing is that Violet has almost a kind of spaced out attitude, which is very similar to Joker, and it works because of the fact that because of the student mechanic. They are essentially, I like being called professor. I think it's cool that you're at a position of authority, essentially, and that you can go and help all like the students, and you see them grow up.
Marry them.
And you see, well,
I gotta get into that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like you actually are around their same age, physically speaking. It's kind of complicated why you became a professor. A lot of people are like, "Wow, you're young. That's odd." But then again, the head of the church said so, so we're not about to say no.
Dang. Like a male Violet.
He is cool. Like I put down, they, like I said, awesome design. They have a cool coat thing. I don't know if it's a coat or a cloak. It's kind of like if both those had a kid. And that's the thing that they're wearing. Because it's kind of a coat, kind of a cloak, but it also has, like, sleeves. But they have armor underneath it. And I don't know what their design is, but it's cool. It's very cool. I love Violet's outfit. And it's even, like, just kind of different. Like, you can even just look at this, like, distinctly different between the male and the female version. And again, I like the fact that it's the subtle things, but they both have essentially the same allure. You know, there's something about them that you don't see different. Like, I innately see Robin differently female or male. Or Corin definitely different female or male. Yeah. Violet doesn't really feel that way.
Well, they have, like, the one canon one.
Yeah, exactly. Violet doesn't feel that way. Like, if they went and said, okay, we have male Violet, I'm like, okay, I know what that is. And then they say female Violet. That's literally the same with the exception of who they can marry. There isn't a whole lot of difference between the male and the female versions besides, like, a few key things. And yet, at the same time, they do feel distinctive. Oh, no, the female is a little bit more expressive than the male. The male has a little bit more of a, immediate, I stand up for this sort of vibe. And I kind of like that. They're just kind of oddly alluring the way that I can only describe as Joker from Persona 5. There's just something that's naturally charismatic about them, and you just kind of want to follow along, even if they're not talking a whole lot. Like,
and the next one, I want to see the girl taller than the guy significantly. Switch the heights.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I want that in the next game. And give me a short guy.
It's also kind of with the way, like, with confidants work the same in, like, supports. Like, you get to know them by the way you can talk back, essentially, during supports with other characters, and you're like, you can choose to be sassy at the one guy who's trying to hit on you, and like, I'm your teacher, you're aware of that, right? And he's like, so?
Who's this?
Sylvain. He's
don't know who that is.
He's a guy who literally will join your house if you're playing as a female, because he wants to go and stare at you in the middle of class, and you're just kind of like, dude,
free unit.
And you can go and, like, he's very different, obviously, if you're playing male versus female, but he literally goes and is like, and you're like, you shouldn't be doing that. And he's like, why not? And he's like, stop staring at my
boobies.
Skirt. It's just funny. Anyway, so then we have, this is Lady Rhea also from Three Houses. This is definitely one who falls more into the decisive of very polarized character.
Very pretty.
Oh, she's beautiful. I love her. But the thing is that she's the head of the church, which means that she's an ally to some and an enemy to others, depending on which paths you take. Because the whole deal about this is that, the three different sections of Fodlan, which are the place in Three Houses, have been at peace. They've been unified by the church for like 995 years. Something goes down, and some people will stand with the church, some people will not choose a side, and some people will go against the church. And so they are ultimately the focal point for the entire game.
Spoilers.
I think that's just so they could use the school assets for your hub world for the entirety of the game. Like, yeah, we're just gonna stay in the monastery no matter what. Doesn't matter if it's, wrecked to pieces or anything like that. Hey, we're gonna sit here. Or if we're explicitly enemies of the church, we're still gonna stay here because we don't want to make another hub world. So essentially. But, I'm like, I don't know, she just came on and I just immediately liked this character, even though, again, a lot of people don't like her because, again, she is the head of the church, so similar to another character on this list, everyone suspected she must be up to 10 different evil things. I think she falls into a complicated moral gray area. Whereas, like, she does do some very questionable things at certain times, but at the same time, depending on the path you take, I did Golden Deers, and I really understand why she did them, and I couldn't really fault her for it. Not any more than I could any of the other lords who do some extreme things. Every single one of them does some very extreme things. But that's the point of the split paths. You tell them why they did that. So, for her particular path, and she actually does have her own unique path that if you choose to stand only with the church.
Isn't that the one where everyone dies?
Yes, if you don't get your supports up. That is the one where everyone dies.
And there's no path to save everyone?
There's no path to save everyone.
That hurts me.
But the thing is that, like, I don't know, I found her very relatable. I thought she was pretty cool. I really like how she interacts with the church staff, which are, like, you know, the one guy who loses his shirt, that he's one of the...
Yeah,
he's very uptight. He's
his
very close to
damage
her.
dart is he just gets completely naked.
Yeah, he's her second
From the
command.
waist up, completely naked.
And, like, the coolest thing is, like, she sees you and literally says, okay, you're gonna be a professor now. And you don't know why, because she has some sort of history with your dad. He used to work at the church. And he doesn't necessarily explicitly not trust her, but more he knows she's always up to something. For better or for worse. And so he's like, I don't know why you're suddenly a professor. There has to be another play here, and of course there is. But I like the fact that, like, she goes and trusts you immediately, and then you have Sedith, who's her second command, who doesn't trust you at all, and therefore has this really cool arc later on where he comes to trust you.
And then you kill him?
No. Not unless you choose to do that path.
Mm.
You can, honestly, if you recruit someone to your team, then they'll stay with you regardless. But, also, she has an A rank in Brawl. You see her outfit? She has an A rank in Brawl.
She's
like
one of a new weapon?
Yes, you literally punch people.
Word.
Punch people with metal gauntlets. That's what it is.
Bringing back some Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn stuff right there. All the untransformed beast units would just punch each other.
Like,
and kick
every
things.
time I see a light priestess, you have to sigh a little bit, because they're always more or less the same cloth. And we'll talk about this later when we go into Micaiah later on. In our next week.
I was like, I hope she's not on this.
No. Our next
Micaiah
week.
is the one the one we hate that everyone likes.
Micaiah was kind of the one who, just to go briefly into her, is that she's a light priestess who also tries to be a general, freedom fighter, a strong person. She never quite sells it because she has this whole sanctity of life, but it never quite aligns with, I'm willing to go to extreme measures in order to win. Rhea does that, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
Just something about her radiates this elegance yet power. And it's probably because you see one of her ancestors fighting beforehand is like, I lost my sword? Okay, who cares? I have high heels on. And I'm just like,
I'll kick you in the face!
I don't know, for some reason, it's a Fire Emblem game, but I still did not expect that. She literally is like, okay, cool, I have high heels, I can kick the heck out of this big barbarian beefy dude, and man, she lays into him. And, like, so that's why when you meet Rhea, and you like see that she's one of two people who can teach you Brawl because she has an A rank in it, you're like, okay, I see where you stand.
Okay, word.
She's like one of the people she has a very motherly air. And she cares a lot about everyone in her church. But the thing is, like, you fear any moment she loses her temper. You, like, know if it happens, you are dead meat.
Mm-hmm.
She will not even cast a spell at you. She will not go and stab her sword through your heart. She will just break you over her knee. And I just think that's so
Isn't that
epic.
Just spicy and fresh?
Because you never see that out of light priestesses. That's why I think she's really cool. And the other thing, I can't say the last reason why I think she's really cool, because that's heavy spoilers. I'll tell you about that later. But essentially, it's kind of like, this is a character that I, like, literally like just the concept of. And people just don't like her because she's the head of the church. Therefore, she must be bad. Mm-hmm. And, like, I think she's definitely in a gray area. And honestly, all the lords are, with the exception of Claude, who kind of starts in the gray area, so you're not surprised. It's more like the fact that he doesn't have a strict alliance to anyone. The other ones have very strict sides they're on. And they then do morally questionable things depending on which side. Mm-hmm. So, it's like, everyone's kind of morally questionable in this game, so it's kind of like, who's really a bad guy in this is really up for interpretation. So, a lot of people don't like her. I think she's awesome. You know, she's actually one of the marriage options regardless of which gender you are, so that's pretty cool. You have to take all her sports, though. Her sports are actually time-locked. If you don't get them in the right weeks, they will lock out the next rank. So I actually completely missed everything after her Beast Sport.
all over again.
I missed everything after her Beast Sport. Anyway, so now we're going to go into Sonic, and I think this is the one you're going to definitely have.
Sneeze. Keep going.
Bless you. I'm waiting.
Keep going.
Stop now, I feel pressured. Bless you. Anyway, so we're going to go to Sonic, and the thing is, Sonic's kind of a decisive one as well. I was talking about this a lot last week when I was, on Friday, when I was going to get my ranks up in Journey of Dreams. And also in the...
Our stream is experiencing issues.
Again? This game, keep going. But I think that any Sonic character could be argued for people, something that people hate and you love, and you have to argue why you like that character. I think that works for any Sonic character, literally, some more than others. But being a Sonic fan in and of itself is something you have to argue your existence for. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, you're a Sonic fan? Oh, your fandom's weird. I'm like, well, honestly, they're one of the oldest fandoms at this point, so it's like, really? Are they the weirdest ones out there anymore? I don't know. I think they kind of settled into their weirdness, like, decades ago.
Mm.
So now, like, the new kids on the block are more like, oh my, you people need help. So anyway, we're going to go into Silver here a little bit. And, like, I could have put a lot of people on this list. I was, again, strictly going for people I know you would have to really argue why you like them. Because you could say this for a lot of characters. Like, he's not my top favorite character. That's definitely Shadow. Still. But,
Mine is the Chows.
Well, let's put it this way. My ranking stopped after Sonic Colors when they kind of dropped the story ball. And now, honestly, it's like being stabbed in the heart right now if you're a Shadow fan. We'll go into that later, but it's rough. So, like I said before, Silver actually has the exact same problem Corrin does. He had the worst possible game to debut in. And honestly, looking back on it now, Sonic 06 isn't that bad of a game from a concept point. There was a lot of passion behind it. There's a lot of great ideas going into it. It really just needed a couple more years in development. It wouldn't have been a perfect game. Not saying it would have just suddenly worked just because they took all the physics issues and bad loading times. It wouldn't have been a perfect game still. But it would have been a way better game than what we got. It's not an unplayable game. I actually played it and I did enjoy it. And I'm thinking of replaying it again. So I can go and beat the final story finally. But it definitely does have glitches. It has serious physics issues. The characters just feel heavy for some reason. They just don't ever feel fast. And Silver is the biggest issue, that he feels very slow.
Because he doesn't go fast.
He's
not wearing
fast.
sneakers. He doesn't have proper arch support, so he can't run.
Well, and that was kind of the point, and I think that he shouldn't be fast because that was the whole deal. Sonic and Shadow are fast. He's not. Mm-hmm. He's psychic. So he can levitate, which makes more sense that would be how he moves faster. And just generally, he's a really cool guy in general. He's the youngest of our trio three. He's 15, Sonic is 16, Shadow 17.
Obviously, they're all older than that. Shadow's like 24. Plus 50.
It's more like he will always be the age of 17, even if at this point he's been around for like 70 years, you know? He'll always be of that age appearance. So, don't think about that too hard. But, you know Rouge is actually canonically supposed to be 18?
Oh, well, no, she's a year older than Shadow.
Well, actually,
they're not 18. There's no way.
It's more the fact that their voices.
They're in their 20s.
I like the fact that he's naive, but he's also sweet, he's hopeful, and the thing is, like, I think a lot of people just hated him because his boss fight is broken, and he has some very annoying...
That was on my PowerPoint. Boss fight sucks.
He's the first boss you face, and his
it's so hard
line is
it's no use.
It's such a meme
it's
now.
No use.
I think even if you're not in the Sonic fandom and you've never heard of Sonic, you know that line.
It's no use.
And I think that's kind of a pity because he's actually really interesting. He just came in at a really bad time. He had the worst possible debut. But I think the fact that he is so hopeful, and they lean into this more in the comics. He's way better. Honestly, all the characters are way better done in the comics, but he's way better done in the comics. Because they lean into that more in the fact, like, yeah, even when he's not in a destroyed future, he's super optimistic, and guys are just like, oh, you poor thing, let's just give you a hug. You know? Like, it's kind of like dealing with Elise in some ways from Fire Emblem Fates, where he's a sweet guy. And the fact is, like, he's from a destroyed future where literally he could die at any moment. There's no hope for tomorrow. He could have been dark and jaded, but he chose not to. Essentially, he chose to try and protect people in spite of that. The other thing I think is really cool about him is his powers just in general. We don't actually have a lot of characters that have explicitly supernatural powers besides Shadow with his Chaos abilities. But generally, they run fast, they fly, they punch, they got a hammer. They can, fly in a different manner.
They have two tails, which is weird, but...
It's like, we don't have anyone that has explicitly powers that aren't, like, physically related. His was like literally the fact that he could do the psychic. First of all, is one of the most broken superpowers in general, and his is psychokinesis. So it's implied that it's more on psychokinesis is like physical force things. Technically, it's also kind of telekinesis in there too, but essentially physical force manifested as mental power. And it's like, that's cool. Imagine if they had made his gameplay like the Force or something like that, where you could literally physically push things. The biggest issue with his gameplay was that you couldn't actually pick up enemies unless they were stunned. And his stun attack had a range of about this. So you missed. Or even if you hit them, you probably were going to get hit too. He gets better when he gets a stun strike. Essentially, he does a ground pound that stuns everything in the area. Then you can grab him and throw him. And the game's super easy after that. Once you get that, he's great. But he's still slow, but that is what it is. His powers are super cool, and that's why it looks awesome when he's in the comics, because you're like, wow, this is really someone who literally, like, we have people like Knuckles who can pick up a mountain and throw it. It's like, no, Silver can be a mile away and pick up the entire city and throw it with his head, pretty much.
Not with his head, with his brain, not with his actual physical head. He's just like, yeah, scooping it up.
That's true, there are characters that could do that.
Yeah.
But, and, you know, so I think in a lot of ways, the fandom has kind of turned around. I went and checked in, and the fandom has kind of turned around on him. Because they are realizing now, it wasn't really his fault. He debuted in 06. In 06 isn't as bad of a game as we all kind of thought of it recently. And he's had other appearances, like in Sonic Generations. He was in Sonic Forces. No one knows why, though, because, I mean, he always gives the trait that he's from the future. So you have to wonder, why the heck are you hanging around? Okay, whatever, I guess he's just chilling right now. And the thing I love about him also was that his friendship with Blaze was really cool. I really like that because I think it works. She's very serious and confident, which is kind of like how all the other ones, like Shadow and Sonic and all the other characters, are more or less that confident, cool vibe. So the fact that it bounced off the fact that Silver's really unsure of what he's doing. And yeah, some people said that made him sound whiny, but I'm like, no, it actually kind of really balances with Blaze. Because it goes to be like, yeah, she's like, I always liked that about you, that you always did question, you always did wonder instead of just acting. That's what I did. But she also faults herself for maybe I'm too unfeeling sometimes. So I thought that with him, and people complain also about Blaze being in there because she was in another game. She's technically from another dimension too. So the fact that she was here was kind of weird. But I'm like, that was my first introduction to the character, honestly. So
that's where I thought she came from.
I originally thought she came from there. I didn't even know she was in other games, actually. So I originally pegged them and just like, they're just great. The 06 in Silver Story, especially in Shadow Story, and even to an extent in Sonic Stories, has a lot of just great relationships going on. Like, these characters know each other, they care about each other, and they trust in each other. Gosh, what I would give to have that in Sonic Forces. The fact that it felt like anyone cared about anyone else on a deep and intimate level. Besides just, oh no, Sonic gone.
Sad.
World is dead now.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you have like 20 of the characters in here and you couldn't think of anything better to say? Anything at all? Anyway, but so she probably has him, I'm gonna assume.
I do.
So, he's the
You'll
obvious
see him
one.
again when she's done with hers.
He's the obvious one. So now we're gonna jump over to RWBY. This one is definitely, I know, a character that I generally feel alone on. It was hard to find fan art for him, just in general. But, so, RWBY. Complicated show. Has a lot of ups and downs. Honestly, it was starting to get really good in the 7th season. I want to see the 8th season because I feel like, you know, they had some good momentum building. I want to see where 8 is going. I haven't watched it though yet. But anyways, first couple of seasons, they had the whole My Hero Academia school thing going on.
Which was going well for them.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of pity that everything had to crash. And they kind of, honestly, at the same time that the creator died, tragically. So they hit a lot of bumps. The fact that they're still going, I kind of have to be like, well, you're trying. You know, you hit some serious potholes.
Shout out to them for keep going.
But they kept going, and some people hate them for that. Some people wish the show ended in 3. I'm like, why would you not want to see?
4 was my favorite season.
He wrote the show to be 10 seasons long at least. So why would you want them to start when everything was just starting up? You know. So anyway. He's the headmaster of the school that RWBY and her friends, who are both, so essentially a little bit on RWBY. If you know anything about My Hero Academia, it's a similar kind of idea that everyone has like semblances, little powers they have. There's trace magic and like crystals that they can use to pull different elements, and they're all people that can go to a superhero school essentially to learn how to kill monsters. You mostly follow a team of 4 girls named after the different colors, you know, the different letters of RWBY correspond to names. Essentially, that's all you really need to know for this case. He's the headmaster of the school they go to, who, and all of them are based on literary characters. So he's based essentially on the Wizard of Oz, which I think is really cool how they tie his name into that. There's a whole thing about that I think is pretty cool. But, going to the next one. This is actually him and his Maya render. He never got used though because he was already off the show by the time they switched engines. But I'm like, it looks pretty nice in my opinion. I think he's just got a really cool outfit. But I always thought he was really cool. He has this very interesting, mysterious vibe. And so I put things I like in a character, male or female, just checks all the boxes. You know, he's really well dressed, he's got a suit, he's got glasses, he's got cane.
Got a neck thing?
Yeah, I got the neck thing. He's got silver hair. It's like everything you could hit to make a cool, mysterious character, he hits it.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. And I definitely think he's best in the first 2 volumes where he's in his element as a teacher, because he's a professor, he's the headmaster. But he also goes a lot of times, and he goes and talks to different students and gives them like kind of the mysterious Obi-Wan Kenobi sort of Dumbledore vibe advice. Like, I will happen to look the other way if you want to go and look into that thing that every other professor told you no on. You know, I will support you in that thing, but I also want to make sure you're safe. And also, like, they have a giant food fight that completely wrecks the entire thing. The woman you saw in the other one, his second command, who's Glenda Goodwitch. Also awesome. Really hate that she's not on the show because her voice actress left, and they're like, well, we're just gonna forget she existed. And I'm just like,
no!
First of all, she has the best semblance ever.
She's so cool.
Which is telekinesis, which means that literally she's overpowered in so many ways. But, she actually is that's half of what makes his character really cool, actually, is that she's very strict and stern. He's much more loose on that. Very mysterious, almost kind of mischievous in some ways. And the fact that he likes to mess people's head by saying things and being very cryptic. Like, you know, someone who would enjoy speaking in riddles.
He's
thing.
Dumbledore.
Yeah.
But probably less gay?
I would assume so. I mean,
maybe less, bad?
Yeah, I think Dumbledore had his much more sinister side towards the end of the movies.
He was more manipulative.
Osmond is really
and I feel like his character was more fragmented apart. Like, they had an idea kind of at the beginning and kind of in the middle, and then all the post-publishing stuff J.K. Rowling added to them, or Rowling added to their character, I think just kind of stinkied it.
Yeah.
Man, stinky.
He was really good in, like, the... Are we getting our sponsorship?
Yes.
Our figure of the week. Today we've got Hawkman? Hawkman. Yeah, special delivery.
The new one.
Hawkman.
Cool.
I think we didn't get Hawkman. Oh no, we got Wonder Woman with the gold wings.
She's down there.
Yeah.
Put Hawkman on the other side of her.
Okay. Put them on,
That's
because these are all real figures in the back.
From the animated. Yeah, not a backdrop.
Yeah, not a Zoom background. These are all real action figures.
So
figure of the week.
So if she randomly had like a seizure and fell backwards, we could knock over this entire shelf.
Yeah, these are all.
And she probably died from the weight of it.
Individual little guys. So you see all our amiibos.
Need more subscribers for that.
Oh, come on.
But anyway, so the thing
Visitor time. Visitors.
Exactly. Once a stream.
We forgot to lock the door. It was our fault.
So the thing that's interesting about him is that the whole time you have this whole vibe of, and I don't know, maybe they do this, I'm pretty sure they probably would do something like this in My Hero Academia too, but you have this whole idea of they're not just going to school, this school has some secrets. There's definitely some sort of darker force coming out from underneath that's looking to essentially twist the peace a little. They've been in the peace for like hundreds of years at this point.
They started doing that. They're like, there's a spy, and then like they just forgot about it. I think that was in the first season. No, that's season 5, and they just didn't mention it again. I don't know anything past season 4 because I haven't read the manga, but actually, theirs is the school is fine.
Well, because
all the evil's like, and the school's like, no, and the students over here, and they're like,
well, because I think yours is like it thrives on the school atmosphere. This one's like, okay, we're done with that.
Yeah, they were like,
chuck it out.
School, psych.
And the school's gone.
No more school.
We know we gotta go back at some point.
I'm like, doing school settings so easy.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain they left. But anyway.
Because you have that enclosed location, you know?
So the whole thing that they have with his deal is that the whole time they're having regular school things, we're doing missions, we're learning how to have friends, we're dealing with bullies, we're seeing the upperclassmen. The whole thing is that a lot of things that had to do with Ozpin was that he clearly knew more than he was letting on, and he kept dropping like very cryptic hints as something going on. Essentially, he was trying to protect the rest of the students, because the whole idea is like, there's another handmaster who is his friend, but he kind of clashed heads with. He's like, yeah, I'm preparing my students for war, just in case that comes. And he's like, I will do everything in my power to make sure that they never have to fight that. Because it doesn't imply they're all they're all former huntsmen, so they all have already done the fighting.
He reminds me of Byakuya with his long legs.
True.
He got some long legs.
But the thing is, I put down here, I think is really important about what makes his character cool to me, is that he has very strong Doctor Who vibes. If you know anything about Doctor Who and how he works.
R.I.P. Doctor Who.
And especially,
I haven't seen you pass halfway through the 10th.
Yeah, I think he definitely is like the 10th or 11th, or even some of the older ones. But it's like he has this vibe of being a very old, very kind, very tortured soul who gets condemned by those he saves a lot of the time. And oh gosh, did they pile on him after that.
Yeah, you really chose characters people hate.
Oh yeah.
I chose people
he was
characters
one of my
that
favorites. I
thought
literally
they were
left the
bad.
RWBY fandom because I got tired of having to defend why I like this character. And the thing is because here's the same issue that I think happens with Rhea. They're mysterious, you don't know what they're up to, but they're clearly up to something and they know way more than they're letting on. And they're choosing not to tell you. That creates mistrust. Rightfully so. But then literally, they assumed he was the ultimate bad guy for so long, and the reason I never did was because his character personality didn't work that way. Yeah, he's mysterious, yeah, he's holding things back, but every time he had a chance to...
It's just like Dumbledore didn't become Voldemort, you know?
Yeah.
Dumbledore was still creepy and old and cryptic and weird, but he never was the guy with the snake face.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the thing I say, he has more Doctor Who vibe, and actually a lot of people would do like dubs over with RWBY clips and Doctor Who things, and they actually match really well. But that's the thing I have to say about it, is like, he always gets this world-weary vibe. Like, he's been through so much, and he wants to help no one else feel that way. He always has hope, no matter how badly things get. And first and foremost, every time something bad happens, he's like, don't worry about me, don't worry about school, get the students out. Protect them, make sure the people aren't panicking. I want to hide things so people don't freak out. And you learn later it's because he's actually lived for like multiple lives. He has this thing...
Some spoilers.
Yeah,
but...
slight spoilers here, but... We're on volume 8. If you're interested in getting to RWBY, you're probably going to run into this just by searching RWBY on the internet. But I'm not going to...
That's what my issue with finding pictures. I was like, just the pictures! No spoilers!
So,
Because a lot of the stuff I was pulling from, I've only seen like the very beginning of like 60 seasons.
To be honest, this isn't... It's kind of neutral spoilers, because you always get the vibe from the very beginning. They tell you, like, he has experience other people lack. He's been around for a long time. Like, you get this implication that he's much older than the rest of the cast. Mm-hmm. So essentially, especially when you learn his full backstory later on, you're like, oh man, just... It's like, you kick a dude down, you continue to kick him, then you come back an hour later with like a mallet and just go at him, and you're just like, why? He's already down!
He's been dead for 6... You like, carry his dead body out of the morgue,
and
put him into...
still thought he was the ultimate bad guy.
A puddle in the mud, and then you start kicking, and he's like, he's been dead for 2 weeks, and you're like, let me kick him again, just to make sure he's dead.
It's like...
You dig him up from his own grave. Let me just give him a little swift knock in the jaw.
That reminds me so much of Doctor Who, is that a lot of the times the people the Doctor would save would come back and condemn him for it. Or go after him. Or he would save someone and it would come to stab him in the back later. But no matter what, no matter how many times humanity was horrible to him, he still stated humans were his favorite species. He still saved them time and again to his own physical detriment. To his own mental detriment. He's literally alone. But... he still goes and helps people, and that's the thing that Ozpin kind of does, and that's why I think he's a really cool character, if he was better utilized in the show. I hear he got better in the recent volume, but the thing that bothered me about him was that everyone was assuming this guy's evil, he's manipulative, he's trying to twist the truth. I'm like, the biggest thing, even when they reveal literally all of his secrets, literally his entire life, is shown in front of everyone without his consent. Literally against his will, he has to relive his entirety of existence. Which is in an internal loop. He cannot die whether he wants to or not. And he still chooses, like Doctor Who, who's regenerated a bunch of times, to try and protect humanity. To try and be the beacon of hope, to try and inspire that in other people, despite how many reasons he has not to. And people still think he's the ultimate bad guy, when we have the literal, like, devil woman over here, being the big bad guy, and like,
she's
nope.
like currently killing someone.
Yeah,
and as they speak, they're like,
no,
oh, look, it's my best friend's cute dog that she's currently eating for dinner. but you're evil because you're green.
Yeah, everyone just assumed Austin was evil. He had to be in cahoots with her somehow, and you realize that they do have some sort of connection, but it's not what you thought it was. And everything is just like, wow, you really got the short end of the stick in so many ways. Like, people just took advantage of you in some way. His biggest flaw is just being too kind in some ways, being too trusting and having too much hope for people. Like, the reason he's mistrustful is like, yeah, with how long he's lived, he's been betrayed like a bazillion times. The fact that he wants to hold a few things to his chest because he doesn't know how to trust people sometimes, totally believable. And yet all the characters will be like, oh,
That's why I couldn't watch
lied to me.
That's why I couldn't watch anymore.
Well, here's the deal. They did that for one season. They kind of went back on it season 7. I hear season 8 it's actually gotten a lot better because he's back to talking for himself again. And also has come around a bit with the fact that, like, I don't know, I just saw, like, a clip of it, but it's like, the idea is essentially he's coming around a little bit better. That's the biggest issue, I think, with his character. His character is really cool. The biggest thing that bothered me was not the show, so much it was the fandom constantly insisting, he's evil, somehow I know it. No matter how many times, and even giving his full backstory, it's just like, he's not a bad guy. If anything, he's in a really bad situation, and the biggest thing he is guilty of is he did lie when he said he wasn't going to. That is, you shouldn't do that. Come on, if they tell you don't lie to me and then you still continue to lie to their face, you gotta expect there's gonna be backlash. You gotta expect you're gonna have to build the trust back up. The fact that, though, again, the biggest issue was with Yang, and honestly Yang just had a lot of issues in that season. Her personality is still kind of in flux. But essentially the whole deal of like, oh yeah, we are facing the little devil woman, the fire devil lady who went and killed one of our friends in front of our leader. Yeah, in her big group of cronies who literally live in like a dark evil slime place.
Evil slime.
But they can't muster up half the animosity they could for this guy for lying to them once. It was almost like, that's not even a character issue at that point, that's a writer issue where I'm like, guys, I know you wanted to try and give him this gray morality, but you literally made every one of his actions justifiable and something that a really decent person would have done. So you want to make it, essentially, like I say, they do this bad with Rhea where they give her literally gray morality situations that are like, yeah, that's not great, but considering what you did, it makes sense for who you are. His was kind of like, well, I went and donated all my money to orphanages, and I went and actually gave away my left arm in order to go and save someone's life.
Yeah, they needed the arm.
But
they're left-handed. What are they gonna do? Their arm was hurting, so I said, just take mine instead.
And they literally come back, it's like, nope, you're definitely up to something, mister. You're shady, and you're gray morality. How dare you give your arm away? And you're just kind of like...
He's like a floating head. I gave away all my body parts to orphans with diseases. And they're like, you had a disease and you're spreading it to the orphans.
So,
and
I guess
like,
he is in a way also kind of in the same area where like Silver and Corrin and all the others sit, where it's like, you're in an area where it's not entirely your fault. Mm-hmm. I think the writers were just very inexperienced to season where all that stuff dropped. So like, we're gonna make this gray morality character without realizing you have to set that up first. You have to do some foreshadowing. You have to be like, oh, he did some mess. And they are doing that a little bit more now with other characters with like outside materials, stories, stuff like that, to build more of the world. They just didn't realize, oh, before we go and give them the punchline, we have to tell them the joke first. Mm-hmm. So it's a mixed bag. I still love this character. He's pretty cool. And we're gonna pass on now into Pokemon. So anyway, this is Lucamine and the Aether family. I'm going to focus on her, but the Aether family as a whole is what makes her character better. And I noted here, in the Pokemon anime, she's a very different character in the Pokemon anime than she is in Sun and Moon. I'm going to bring up her in Sun and Moon. I think she's best in the anime. Because that one, she actually is just kind of an overbearing mom. But she does genuinely care about Pokemon and her kids. It's just kind of, she lost touch with them a bit. For essentially the same reasons in the game. Also, this is another picture. I just found cute pictures of his family. This is actually their outfits in the anime. That looks super cool.
They're so cute together.
I'm just like, I like the fact that like they're all kind of in the middle as far as like their outfits have obviously been upgraded from what they were originally, but they're all now rocking their own styles and not trying to match each other. Like Diane still has the black and red theme, but he looks a lot nicer. Lily has a more fancy dress, and Lucy's going with the whole blue thing, and her hair's not as all braided down the back. I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. I like these outfits.
And the second one reminds me of Phil from Promised Neverland! Except Gladion's not as hard as Phil. Not Phil. His name's not Phil. His name's Ray. Sorry. Olivia keeps saying Phil's our favorite, so Phil's stuck in my brain. It reminds me of Ray from Promised Neverland, except Ray's much more edgy, much more like actually dark. Not like you know, Gladion like looks dark, but he's really wholesome.
Yeah.
This kid, like as far as I know right now, is just
Sonic
dark.
Force's Shadow, as opposed to Sonic Adventure 2 Shadow.
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure 2
like-
Shadow is actually very wholesome. He just
It's
looks
like
edgy.
yeah, there's like no wholesomeness yet. Like Olivia's like, wait, you'll see. I'm waiting to see.
Still waiting.
Yeah, so go on.
So anyway, so
She looks so cool.
I know. So first off, this to me is just one of the best villains in Pokemon to date. Like, I think the only one who really like goes close are the other ones that are like genuinely like just monstrous guys, and she's the first of the females. We never actually had anything but a male boss or final boss or team boss or whatever you're facing at the end of the game. It's only ever been guys. So she was the first female one, and she was kind of a fake out because they actually did have another team that was led by a guy, but they weren't the ultimate bad guys. They were ultimately her henchmen, and that was pretty cool. And also, like I said here, best final boss form ever.
I wish that you could have fought her
I
instead
wish
of
you could have
her
fought
throwing a Pokeball as this. You're like, what? Why do you have what?
That's why I think the anime did way better, because they actually could fight her in her Mother Beast form, which was really cool. Now, they did still fight her Pokemon, because they were just scattered around trying to slow them down. But, like, they, like, actually were able to face her like this, which was really cool. And the thing that I like about her, that I think I kind of like them in the Aether family in general, which is her son Gladion, and daughter Lily, you saw them in the previous one. Pokemon Masters does a really good job of building this, because that takes place after the Sun and Moon games. So at this point, you know, in case you don't know, Lucamine ultimately is looking for these things called the Ultra Beasts, which are kind of like weird Pokemon from other dimensions. She had a chance encounter with Nihilego, which are known for their neurotoxins that can cause you to go a little loopy in the head. So she has a chance encounter with it once, goes to try and find it again, obviously combining with them, can almost kill you. So it took her a while to recover. She was with Lily for a lot of it. So Pokemon Masters picks up after that, where she's kind of like trying to, you know, do her best to try and be better. And she has, like, they're actually working just fine as a family unit now, but she's still thinking about the past all the time. You know, she has her own Pokemon partner right now, like, they're going to have this family tournament, and so the whole thing that comes around, she meets with some of the other, because there are other parents, like Norman, for instance, that have their kid who are fighting with them, and being like, hey, they're fine, they look happy, why are you so unhappy? You know, and she has other interactions with, like, Guzma, for instance, who's the team boss of Team Skull. She has an interaction with some of the Kahunas who originally think she's up to no good because she's with a Pheromosa, which is an Ultra Beast, until some other bug catchers come along, like, no, that's just an awesome bug type over there. Look how pretty it is. They're like, oh yeah, we did jump to conclusions because they know that she unleashed Ultra Beasts across the entire region, so understandably they were a little concerned. Until then they went and checked themselves, like, oh wait, we're just interrupting this mom and daughter day.
This poor woman.
Because she was just having an outing with Lily, with their Pokemon just happened to be out and about. Because that's what your Pokemon do. And then they, like, the cool thing is that they have this whole thing where they're trying to team up as a pair of 3, because that's how you fight 3 people a team in Pokemon Masters. So the issue is that Lily and Lily were having issues syncing up, and she thought it was because her children didn't trust her. And then you realize at the end, and I've probably brought this up in the stream before, but I think it's so good, she is the one causing the dysfunction, but it's because she's so stressed and anxious about by getting things right, about how they perceive her, about how everyone else is watching her for any false movements. It's making her Pokemon anxious, so that's why the team dynamic is off. Gladion and Lily trust her entirely. At this point, this is just a family outing. That's just their mom. You know, they don't have anything back. And, like, even Gladion goes and points out when she wonders if Savali hates her, and he's like, no, Savali doesn't have any hatred. That's why he was able to break its mask. It's happy now. It wouldn't exist without you. For as bad as things went, it's alive because of what you did. So let go of the past. And then once she's able to do that, then they're all able to sync up and they win the tournament. But I'm like, that was really cool. And then they have this cool final moment where Gladion and Lily are celebrating, and they're talking to Brennan and May, who were, you know, with Norman, and they're all just kind of having fun together. And she just has this moment off to the side where she's thinking of her husband and how nice it would have been for him to be here and to see them all. And she's like, I'm going to do my best. I made a lot of mistakes, but I'm going to do my best and figure this out. However long that
takes. And her husband's just chilling on an island like, I'm chill with the Pokepelago. Is there any way to get him back?
Yeah.
I think he's a true villain in this story. He just laughed. He's like, I'm going to the island.
Yeah.
Never coming back.
So that's the thing.
Okay.
So the anime does lean into this more. As far as she's just kind of a little overbearing. she's very enthusiastic. She's more a Pokemon researcher in that. But the thing is, like, she has lost touch with her kids because, again, lost her husband in a really tragic way. All of a sudden, she's the president of his company and has 2 young kids. So at that point, Lily is still a toddler. Dangan's like 4. She's got a lot to deal with all of a sudden. So she just kind of throws herself into trying to make sure the company maintains itself so she has the money and resources to take care of her kids. And unintentionally loses complete contact with them during that time. And becomes a little bit too obsessed with doing this Ultra Beast thing in order to find her husband. So, Sarah follows the same beat as the anime, but it's more like she's genuinely just a really nice person. It's just she's a little bit too enthusiastic at the start, and she is kind of out of touch with pretty much everything else happening around her. Until, of course, the main villain in that one was Faba, who was one of the people who worked at the Aether Foundation. He went and traumatized Lily in order to try and bring Nihilgo back, thought that was going to please his boss. Instead, she tried to break his face for hurting her daughter. And I'm like, dude, where do you think that was going to work? He tries again. In that time, Nihilgo tries to abduct Lily again and snags Lucimi instead, and that's how she ends up in her Mother Beast form. And because they have to go rescue her after that, because they don't have a means of getting back into Ultra Space after the thing gets broken. That's how Solgaleo happens, and they legit have to fight her to rescue her. Because she's completely taken over by Nihilgo by that point. But the cool thing is, like, after that, that's not the last time you see this family. Like, normally when you run out of canon source for the game materials, that's the last time you hear about them. Like, no, actually, they continue to do stuff together. They continue to try and reconnect as a family. They all started training Pokemon more. They looked more into, like, their dad's disappearance. Like, they were very well-rounded characters, and they're, like, being kind of a fractured family that was born of the tragedy, growing back into reconnecting, it felt more fulfilling. Which is ironic, because usually the Pokemon anime screws up things the games do right. So the fact that they actually kind of outshone the game in a way was actually really just kind of surprising.
Pretty dope.
I've already kind of covered about, in the previous slide, about their outfits just look awesome. Like, and I think, like, the true evil about this was really Nihilgo, that is looking for a host. And it kind of screws up this entire family in doing so. So I think it's the real bad guy here. So, this one's a little bit... This was so hard to find art for, by the way. I was trying to find her in her older outfit. I found one picture of her in her older outfit.
Is it this one?
No, these are actually both her current ones.
Oh, okay.
The one in the bottom corner is kind of a mix of both, because the color scheme's her old one, but it's also clearly the outfit of that one, and her hair's lighter too. But anyway, so Claire's the last gym leader of the Johto region. This is her in her other outfit. It's slightly different. She actually has a whip in some versions.
Nice.
So, it was hard to find her. I was scared to look her up in DeviantArt, because I'm sure there'd be so much dominatrix stuff going on.
I only looked on Google Images with safe search.
But anyway, so, I like Claire a lot, and she gets a little too much hate, I think. So, in the early generations, being a Dragon Master actually had some clout to it. They
Look at you using the word clout. Proud. You God.
They had capes, they had dragons, they were just mysterious by nature. When they walked into the room, you just felt a shiver go down your spine.
Dragonair looks intimidating, and it's a Dragonair.
They're so beautiful, like, she just makes them look intense. Lance's Dragonite, for instance. Lance also, who is her cousin, by the way, is, like, just looks like they're big, pudgy Pokemon, but his looks intense. Like, it looks fierce. And, like, they just, nowadays, you have, like, and I'll give a pass to Raihan because he's very cool. But I'm like, all the other Dragon Masters really nowadays don't have any sort of mystery to them.
Flair.
Like, they don't have any flair. They don't have any sort of, like, presence. They just have dragons, and that's a thing, and you just don't take them seriously anymore. And, like, I miss that. I miss the time when Dragon Gym Leaders and Elite Four and, champions and stuff like that were cool. But now they really aren't. They're weirdos in capes that sit in caves. At best. At worst, they're just...
Kids.
Yeah.
They're just kids.
Zinnia, Iris, all those people. Very annoying. But, so, the thing that I think is interesting about Claire is a lot of people don't like her because they think that she's arrogant and that she's... certain words I won't say on stream. And because she doesn't give you your badge when you beat her. And they think that that's dumb. And honestly... she is kind of a joke in the current modern games. She's way too arrogant, almost to like the delusional sense of it's like, okay, they're being confident and they're just being completely blind to reality. And that's kind of where Claire sits right now, and that bugs me immensely. So she's kind of made as a joke And, like, or that she's, like, why she's so salty, and, like, well, she's not even the first gym leader that does give you your badge. Whitney won't give you her badge because she's too busy crying. And she's the one with the evil milk tank that everyone brings up. Why does Claire get so much more hate for that? She's at least reasonably strong. You know, like, her Kingdra has no type weaknesses in this generation, because Water Dragon, there's nothing that affects that. Fairy type doesn't exist yet, you know? She was genuinely difficult, but she should be, because she's the last gym leader before the Elite Four. And back when the Elite Four also existed. But the thing that I thought was interesting about her is that her relationship to Lance, who's the champion of this region. He's her cousin. They both live in the same hometown. Gosh, I understand why she has issues. It's because, like, you are constantly being compared. Literally, when she won't hand over a badge, you're like, do I need to call Lance over this? And then she immediately is quiet and gives you your badge. I'm like, she's constantly being compared as a lesser Dragon Master because her cousin is doing bigger and better things literally right next door in the Indigo Plateau as the leader of the Elite Four. And Lance is kind of his own cartoon character in the fact that he likes having the superhero vibe. He likes wearing capes. He likes coming to the rescue. How does she compete with that? People kind of pass her over because of her more impressive cousin. And actually this is stated in the game. The other Dragon Masters who all live in the Blackthorn Sea Cave, which is where, you know, they raid Dragonair and stuff, they all don't think a lot of her because Lance is such a shining example. So understandably, she might be a bit insecure about that. She might be a bit salty about people beating her. The fact that she can't get through the championship is because her cousin is in the way. She says that she can hold up against the Elite Four, and nowadays that's just blustering because her character's outbalanced, it's too arrogant. But I'm like, back then, it was like, well, yeah, why can't you? Dragons are really powerful in this generation. She's only not the champion because she's getting beaten by her cousin. She can get through the rest of the Elite Four. She can't beat him, though, and therefore can never gain the champion spot. So the best that she can do is remain a gym leader, so she's at least getting a constant amount of people coming through, so she can continue to hone herself. And the other thing is, I first encountered Claire in the anime. She's much more aloof in that she has a much more calm atmosphere. She's still very passionate, she's still very skilled, and she's still very powerful, but she's a lot more toned down. Nowadays, like, now she's... Be honest, I hate to say it. In Pokemon Masters, she's like Shadow is now in the Sonic games. Where it's just like, I can't be friends with you because that's not cool.
Being friends is lame! I like to sit alone at lunch and cry into my salad.
I can't go and pair up with you. I'm clearly the best Dragon Master, even though I'm surrounded by so many other not only Dragon type users, but champions. It's like delusional levels of arrogance. And I don't like that because it makes her look like a joke. It's like you can't take anything Claire says seriously anymore, and honestly, that's kind of the plight of all Dragon Masters now. They just aren't as cool as they used to be. So I'm like, I think that she's a character that a lot of people hate, but would honestly be one of my favorites, if not my favorite, of the Johto region. Just because I like the mystique that came around her when she was in the anime. I like the fact that she is one of the very few, we don't have a lot of relations in Pokemon. Family relations, parent relations, the fact that she's related to another very powerful character makes sense why she would be kind of more on the salty side about things. I like that she has a lot of spirit, and also the fact that she has a whip in the adventure thing. So she's like, I'm not even gonna fight you. I'm not gonna bring out my dragons. I'm just gonna tie you up first, then I'll feed you to my dragons. And you're just like, alrighty then. Johto's intense because at that point it was just Kanto. So it was like when Johto comes in, they're like, I don't know about those Johto gym leaders. They're a little weird. So anyway, this one's more.
He's disliked.
It's more a matter of the fact that he's more forgotten.
Oh.
So this was the only one.
I was like, I love this guy.
He's the only one who.
Well, he's not Sir Aaron. Is that why?
Yeah. That's why I say it. He's the one that he's not hate so much as I don't know why they didn't do more with him. So this is Riley. Totally a reincarnation of Sir Aaron, who's like an Aura Knight in one of the movies.
Exactly the same.
They are literally the same person, just he's clearly from modern times. He's actually like the owner of Iron Island, so he's actually like a businessman. And also an Aura Knight.
I like his necklace.
He does have an awesome necklace. But like, he literally can use Aura, like Lucario. A Pokemon. A human can use a Pokemon's power, essentially. This was a super big deal in the movie. And yeah, and they literally glossed it over when he shows up in the anime. They're like, I can use Aura too, and they're just like, cool.
Can Ash use Aura too then?
He technically can, but they never bring it up. They could have brought it up in that episode. They didn't, because for some reason the movie and the anime have weird continuity. They can't mention each other.
Whatever.
But I'm like, the thing I find that I put him on the list is he's Really cool, in my opinion. He's a steel type specialist. We don't actually have a lot of those. His whole literally be the reincarnation of Sir Aaron. Why do you not play with that? He's literally a medieval knight. That's now a modern businessman. He can do a lot of interesting abilities. He has this whole mystique to him.
Did you draw this?
No.
Oh. Looks a lot like your art style.
Fair enough.
Not the Lucario, but the Sir Aaron.
Yeah.
Riley, sorry.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, he's clearly the coolest partner you can pair up with. Probably second to Cheryl, because I think Cheryl's pretty cool. She actually has some interesting things she does in Pokemon Masters. But, he has, like, nothing. He literally appears for one thing, he gives you a Riley eggs, and he never appears again. He has 2 episodes in the anime. Why did this he not, and he wasn't even, like, sidelined like N was in the anime. It wasn't something Ash solved. Like, no, it was something that only Riley could solve because he had aura abilities. And he literally almost blew up because of it. But it was fine. It was okay. He just almost passed out when he left. But it was fine. He was all good. Why doesn't this guy get a little bit more attention? You never see this as like a favorite character or person that are underutilized or what we want back from the Sinnoh remakes. Gosh, imagine him in the little chibi styles.
Cute.
It's like, I'm hoping characters like him return, you know? But it's like, it's one of those things where he's not hated. He just feels forgotten. Like someone who could have had way bigger protagonist potential, you know, rival potential, any sort of lore potential, you know? Like, he looks like someone who could tie into, like, the legends and lore of Sinnoh. Sinnoh has so much legend and lore going on. It's a big thing for Cynthia. Why isn't he used more? His isn't a hate thing. His is more, why is this character not known? So anyway, last one here for Steven Universe. And this is definitely going to be an indecisive thing, and it's kind of her, but also the diamonds in general. So the diamonds are the biggest, carefully, get my cords, sorry, antagonist in Steven Universe. Which, if you don't know, magical show, powerful women, lots of gay vibes.
Gems.
You know, Steven's is lovable and adorable, and we're not going to speak about anything after that. So, the thing is that I love this character for multiple reasons. First, like, arguably one of my favorite characters of all time, which is amazing because it's like, design, beautiful, awesome. Long hair, long dress, hooded cloak, come on, she's so graceful, she looks beautiful in every shot of the show. It was like, too many things to choose from in this one, really. But it's like, she's just a really beautiful character. And then the fact is, like, this is one of the antagonists. One of the, like, the main core antagonists. But yet, comes on so sympathetic. Why? How? Literally, her debut, and I'll tell you right now, so the thing is that they're essentially all evil overlords, essentially. They go to other planets and they conquer them, looking for resources to keep their race going, because they're all essentially more like sentient rock hologram things. And so, and the ones at the top of the diamonds who literally have the power to make all other gems. They literally are kind of matriarchs, you know? And so the whole deal is, for the beginning, and because you learn with Steven, and you think that they're just these evil overlords. You know, a la Fire Lord Ozai, you know? Just an evil person who wants to conquer for no apparent reason besides that they are evil. And they want to cause people's misery, and they want what they don't have. You know, all the typical evil overlord tropes. So originally I thought that this was going to follow that sort of pattern, where you have, it's actually like Birthright, where Nor is, you know, just the evil conquering nation, and we have to stop them because they're trying to take what we have, and they're bad, so therefore we must rise against them.
Let's just forget the part where we've had sunlight for 10 years and they've lived in the darkness of barren soil where everyone dies every day because there's literally no resources there.
That's what I'm saying. It was black and white, and that's honestly kind of...
I'm just gonna ignore that whole factor.
Yeah, and that kind of happens because, you know, that's the way Steven views the world. And when you see the first diamond, who's Yellow Diamond, who I'm also going to go into a little bit.
She the next slide?
No, but
Is this your last slide?
This is my last slide.
Oh, okay.
So, but I have to mention her as I'm mentioning Blue Diamond, because the two of them are literally perfect foil characters. It's amazing how well it was thought out. Again, for antagonists that appear in 5 episodes. But the thing is like, she comes on, she's very militaristic, she's very science-minded, she's very exact, and she has a bit of a short temper. Very classical evil overlord stuff, you know? We're following this whole, we're gonna have to destroy these colonizing big bad guys. It's going to be a boss fight. They're going to have to stop them again. I bring up Fire Lord Ozai because honestly, he's the least interesting villain in Avatar because he literally just wants to destroy things because he's evil. Azula's honestly has way more depth than he does.
Actually, I was like, Azula's pretty sick, dog.
But it's like, he's just like, no, I just want to conquer the world. Gonna burn it because I can't own it. I'm gonna burn it all. He's like, you know, he was a force that Aang had trouble with, similarly to how Steven did in the end, because he was peaceful and he didn't want to kill him. So he had to find another way to take him down. But the whole...
Did he kill him in the end?
No, he just stole his bending powers. But he still was alive. Arguably a worse life, but, you know, he still was alive.
How did he steal his bending?
He used,
The power of the comet?
No, he used, energy bending. Literally twisting the soul so he couldn't bend anymore.
Word.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact... I remember he went into, like, the Avatar state. It was like...
Yeah.
They were like,
But he...
don't do it! He was like, I'm so peaceful. And I just don't remember what happened after that.
So, essentially, so that's all built up here. So, why is this my favorite character? And honestly, because my second favorite character is Garnet, because Garnet's awesome, and I love her. She's so cool. But, like, and ironically, is the one person that actually has beef with this character, so I think that's just funny. But the reason that this character changed everything for me is because Blue Diamond is also one of these evil overlords. We've heard about her from Garnet. Like, this is the reason Garnet got exiled, the reason Ruby and Sapphire got together, who are the two that are essentially the relationship that makes up Garnet. And, like, she portrays her as someone that should be fierce and cold and calculating. The entire fandom, because I watched this, was expecting this cold ice queen, you know? Maybe a little more in, like, the prestige area, but, like, essentially someone who's very, like, sharp and dangerous. Because that's the way Garnet portrayed her. So then when she actually shows up for the first time on screen, she's just this empty shell almost. She's completely in despair. She's constantly hiding herself with, like, cloaks and stuff like that. She's always crying, which, because of her abilities, which is pathokinesis, which is another thing I think is awesome, because emotion-based abilities are very rare for some reason in every sort of super power thing. You don't actually find that ability very often, the ability to control other people's emotions. At most, you have empathy, you know, which is the ability to feel other people's emotions, but, like, the fact that you can control other people's emotions through your own, double-edged sword there, but it's a very cool ability. So she's just constantly crying. She's always talking in the soft voice, always just hunched over, almost kind of anxious in a lot of her things. It's the exact opposite of what you were told she was going to be, from what everyone expected her to be, as this evil overlord. And all of a sudden, in that arc, the Zoo arc, and because she represents essentially the idea of the damage the crystal gems did during the war, she's representing essentially the damage that happened on the enemy side too. It's the first time Stephen has to come to terms with the fact that there are no good wars. People get hurt on both sides. Sure, you might be fighting for a good cause, and sometimes you gotta fight for that good cause. But this is the first time he had to come face to face, essentially, with the idea that people got hurt on both sides. The reasons the Diamonds are still fighting isn't because they want Earth explicitly. It's her and then her counterpart, who's Yellow Diamond, are grieving. That's why they're so adamant about destroying Earth. They want some sort of closure to make the pain stop, which is really relatable, and this is one of our main villains. This showed me that Steven Universe ultimately did have that in the finale, because she only has like 5 appearances. Every time you're just like, wow, I sympathize to you. Why? You're supposed to be the bad guy. That's just the beauty of the writing, that they can make someone who's very relatable, still ultimately in the wrong, but just very relatable, and just very kind of easy to sympathize with. So it showed me that Steven Universe was not going to be the simple, oh, we're going to be the evil overlord thing. So, like, maybe there is another way of talking this out. Maybe, because she was also the first one everyone assumed might switch sides if given the right push. Because she wasn't really happy on her side, to be honest. And was only kind of doing this as a, I'm in so much despair right now, anything is going to feel better than this. So the moment that Steven essentially was like, you know there's a way you could be feeling better, she's like, oh, alright then. And she's the first one to switch his sides, and goes and helps Steven, and all of them ultimately switch sides. But the reason I put this down here is, like, because everyone wanted the Diamonds to be these evil gem Nazis, essentially. That when they were shown to have more depth, when they were shown that they weren't fully evil, people got really, really angry about it. So this is definitely a character I would count underneath the everyone else hates but I love. Because she literally changed my perspective of the show, that this was going to be a different sort of show. where it wasn't just going to be black and white, where we were actually going to see the damages on both sides. She also just has really, cool design, so obviously I liked her for that reason. But it was also going to the fact, like, yeah, in the end, they did talk it out. Because in some cases, like, largely in her case, was, like, it just needed to be talked about. Once she was called out, essentially, for the bad things she was doing, she stopped, reflected, and which was in her character to do, and changed sides. It wasn't like a simple, like, oh, I'm gonna hold on to what I thought because you hurt me
She's
so
like,
bad and
no,
I can't do anything.
I'll be good.
Literally, it's like, as soon as Steven went and
good.
called out, it's like, hey, do you realize that you've been hurt? Because that's the nature of her powers. When she hurts, it makes everyone else hurt around her. So he essentially called her out, like, don't you realize by just focusing on your own pain, you're making everyone else hurt as well? And that was too much for her to deal with. She's like, I'm okay with hurting, but essentially, because of who Steven's mom is, and she's like, I made other people hurt that I care about. I can't take doing that. I gotta change something. And that's, the other thing that makes her really good is that she has, like, the best foil ever, which is, like I said before, Yellow Diamond, who's her exact opposite. She's the emotion half, Yellow Diamond's the logic half. The fact that you have literally these two sides of everyone's mind is constantly a war between, do you follow your emotions, do you follow your logic, do you follow your heart, do you follow your head? It's an age-old thing. So many characters do this. And so the fact that they have these two characters literally, like, expressing these two very big dichotomies that are also work together. They argue all the time, but at the same time they also perfectly understand each other. Because these characters cared about each other, because they weren't just, oh, we're just associates, oh, we're just two supervillains that happen to be working together because it's convenient. No, these are people we care about. They constantly come to each other's defense, and when they're fighting together, Steven and his friends are just screwed. They're screwed against one of them. When both of them show up, it's like the phase 1 of the boss fight, best fight ever, is in Reunited, where it's like they fight her. They knock her down. Because they're also like 50 feet tall. And they're like, oh yeah, we won! And it's like phase 1 of any boss fight in a video game.
It's always a 3-stage boss fight.
It's always a 3-stage fight.
So it's not 3, it's 5.
Yes.
It's never 1.
Never 1. And so then Yellow Diamond shows up, literally wrecks everyone, and then helps Blue up, who's not even hurt. And you're just like, so Steven's won every fight up until now. I don't think that's changing.
These, baby.
And it was like, yeah, you're not winning that fight. And so that's why, like, people wanted them to be so evil, and I'm like, but that was never what they were written to be. That's the only thing that bothers me when it comes to that's why I think counts as characters that are hated but don't deserve it are ones that are written to be a certain way, but people expect to be different. And that's why I have to say I love the Diamonds in terms of how they are written as complicated characters. They're not just villains, they're people who are in a weird area happens to be on the opposing side of our protagonist, Steven. And even then, he's able to get them to, by talking to them, essentially doing the thing that no one else wanted to do, and even though they go back on this a bit in the future, which annoyed me, was that, yeah, just talk to them, things change. It's maybe not realistic, but that was the thing that this story was always meant to do. It always was meant to conclude this way. He was never going to kill anyone. People says, why weren't they killed? Why weren't they exiled? That was never going to happen.
He only killed one person.
And that is in the season that will never be named, because it honestly kind of just
makes us enraged.
Anyway, so that's probably a good place for me to stop on it. This is
my PowerPoint time!
But it's like, I just had to go, like, I only have one from Steven, because there's a lot of people you could say from Steven Universe that are kind of decisive, but I'm like, this was literally a character that probably is one of my favorite characters of all times, of all media, because of how much it made me think deeply about a show. A animated cartoon. I thought deeply about myself and my world around me, because this one made me rethink my gender biases, my character biases, my entire thing. I can watch all our episodes again, and they're just great, because I'm like, wow, this is supposed to be a bad guy. And I don't feel that way. I love characters that make you think. All the characters on this list are all ones that I'm just like, they don't come off as what they originally appear, and I like having to think about that. Are we just gonna pull off here?
Ta-da! Yeah, go with mine. Oh, I'm so excited to present mine! Yay!
Yours is largely pictures, isn't it?
100%.
Before we start on that, do you mind if I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, go ahead, go quickly. I will open it up so you can see kind of what's the plan. Yeah! Okay, I'm so excited to present mine! Go quickly, Evie, while I just explain a little bit of what's going on. So, as my title says, I hope none of my pictures are weird, because I try to make my PowerPoint in a way that I would like to see it, like, you know, mostly picture based, and like, where the left corner is open for the camera, so I hope I don't cut off the thing. But I originally started with characters, you know, like you, the characters I like that other people hate, but I didn't know what characters people hated, because I like to be, ignorance is bliss, baby. I like to be as ignorant as possible when it comes to this kind of stuff, because I just don't have time to be angry, like, oh my god, they hate my character. Now I'm like, I don't have time for that. I want to like my characters, and that's it. So I ended up amending my title to characters I think I like that I think people don't like. So characters that I was thinking people don't like that I also like. And as my subtitle says, I have no evidence if people really dislike them or not. I'm just going off the vibe, the general vibe of the internet that I'm reading is general aura, and Reddit. Because I literally, earlier today, Googled least favorite fictional characters, and I like scrolled, and most of them were TV though, so I was like, ah. So I scrolled through all those, and like a bunch of BuzzFeed things, those quick lists, and then I say like, least favorite I did Fire Emblem, Sonic, and like 3 or 4 assorted singular characters. The biggest one by far is Fire Emblem. I think I have 4 or 5 of those. And then Sonic, I have like 5. The Spotted one has arrived. Hello, Spot. Welcome. Just in time for my my presentation. I think I have like almost 15 people, but they aren't, like, Evie just presented hers, and it's like very much, she put a lot of thought into it, obviously, like why the characters like this. I just chose, I'm so embarrassed. I just chose characters I liked and why I like them. I have to, bad signal, so I have to wait to watch. That's okay, it'll be on our VOD channel, Medieval VODs, Medieval VODs. It'll be up there afterwards, and obviously archived here. This is a good one to watch in spurts, because, you know, we're not playing games, we're just kind of going on, just random. This is something where we're doing it, like, otherwise, if we didn't do it here, we would literally just go up and do it in our room. So we're like, hey, why not, you know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone and just talk to the internet while we're doing this, you know? So instead of having to talk here and then talk to our friends about it later, just talk to our friends now on the internet, which is nice. Yeah, so I didn't think through all these reasons. I literally would Google least favorite Fire Emblem characters list, and I would go to like a Reddit thread, and I would go and I would scroll through like only 6 posts or something, because I really don't like the discourses on Reddit, just because I don't like character bashing. Even if it's a character I hate, I just don't like character bashing. I just don't like a lot of that negative energy. So I would just choose and be like, oh, they hate this person, like I like them. Even if it was only like 3 people's opinion, I just went off of that. So some of these characters you might be like, these aren't the most unliked characters. And I'm like, well, sorry, but based off of my 15 minutes of research on purely just Reddit and Google, this is what I got. I'm waiting for Evie's in the bathroom, so she's gonna come back, and then we can talk about it. I'm so excited. While she's gone, I might as well talk about like what's going on with me. I'm playing Fire Emblem Awakening still. You did research? I did do research. I told you, I Googled it. Yeah, I literally was like, beep, boop, 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 boop. What are these characters? Because I knew, like, I know characters that are popular that I don't like, but that wasn't our thing today. Our thing was characters that they don't like, that I like. And Evie knows a lot of that stuff. Like, she knows, like, oh, there's terrible, like, Battle in Wonderworld. She knows there's terrible reviews, and she knows that top 10 lists that people hate. I was like, I don't generally. I kind of like to stay in my little, you know, my little immersion sphere, and I don't like to know, like, a lot of what other people think about games, just because breaks my personal immersion, which, especially when it's, like, Awakening, and I can only play 1 level every 4 days or something, like, it takes a long time to get through. So I'm doing the best that I can with this. Like, Evie said she didn't put Shadow on her thing. Well, spoiler alert, I put Shadow on mine for my Sonic characters, because well, also mine is a little different, because I did mine based on the game I know them from. So, like, for his, because I can talk about his, because that's not, like, spoilers or anything. Like, for his, I put Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Sonic Heroes, and Sonic X. Even though he's in other games, and he has his own game, I don't know those games, I haven't seen the playthrough all the way through, or played it myself. You know, I don't know people's perceptions of those games, and therefore I can't speak on the presentation of the character in that game. So I'm only speaking from experience where I've either played them all the way through myself or watched them played all the way through myself. Those are the games, and these are all game based except for one, I think, are all video game characters. That I can talk on from my experience with them. So if there's characters where like I've only seen them in game 1 out of like one of them is Dangan Ronpa, and I've only seen them in the very first game where they very first were introduced, the first game of the whole series. I know they make reappearances in later games, but I don't know how. I don't know their character. I don't know if they die. I don't know if they grow anymore or if they regress in their character. I don't know. So I'm just speaking on the character intros I have. But I'm excited to say, because I worked all day on this. I really did. I worked for a while on this because I wanted to find really cool pictures that I thought brought across my perception of the character well. Evie's it's very much in our style. Evie's was more word-based because she's more of a word person. Mine are pretty much all pictures. Each slide has probably 3 bullet points on them. The longest one is, there's one Fire Emblem character I split into 2 because there's a lot I wanted to say for them. That's what, otherwise it's just kind of short. Yeah, I watched Dangan Ronpa with Olivia yesterday. It's so good. I am going to start watching the third one. Not the second game soon. But I didn't want to do it today because then that's all I would be able to think about tonight. And I was like, I need to focus on my presentation. I hope Evie gets back soon. Because I really want to start doing my thing. I'm ready. Hear some noises. Evie, is that you? Oh, meat and sweets? You were gone long enough to make yourself an entire dinner?
Well, half this is for you.
The cake. Is this spoon or fork mine?
Whichever one you want to use.
I'll use spoon. She brought lamb cake. I was just telling them about how I decided these characters. So I'll just reiterate it for you. These are only based off of my perception of these characters in the only games I've either seen or played through all the way. So if, like for Shadow, she said that I'm not going to be doing it based off of Shadow in his own game. I will ask that you don't eat while I present. So eat now and put it to the side, and we'll eat more in a little bit. Because my presentation won't take that long.
Did I go too long?
Yes. What do you mean, did you go too? No. Oh, I thought you meant were you gone too long? I was like, yes, you were gone forever. No, I think that's pretty average for you. You like to talk.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Madeline. I didn't want to put up your presentation.
No, my presentation won't take. I just asked that you don't eat while you do it because it's really distracting for me. So if you want to just put it on the table for now, we can take it. Put the ham down, Evie. You cannot hold ham while I present. Put the ham down. Put it all in your mouth. Eat it all right now. You'd eat it now before I start. It's like a movie. You'd eat all the food before you enter the theater. Just eat all the ham now. No, eat it now. Otherwise, you're gonna be thinking about it this whole time. I need you focused.
I'm gonna eat it.
Laser focus.
Cake again.
Eat. It's just the sound of you chewing is very. You know this. It's very distracting. Okay. Yay! Do you want to wipe your fingers? Because they're covered in ham now. No. Okay. Oh, you're gross. Wipe off your ham fingers. Or wipe on your pants or something. Microphones, I'm going to try and shield you from Evie's chewing noises. We have caught them on camera before because they are somehow so loud they just break the thing. So here it is. Based off of just my vibes. Starting out the gate pretty strong with my boy Byakuya! Yeah! Woo!
Again, glasses, suit, you can't fail.
So the thing about him is, so I say, because I did mine, so here's the character intro page where I can talk on this. He is from Dangan Ronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, which is the first game in the series. I've only seen him in the first game, in an animation of the first game. He does come back in other games. I have not seen him in those games, so I'm only judging based off of the first one. Who is it? Hi. I'm presenting, so I need you to either stay or go. Instead of walking in and out because I'm presenting. Yeah, go watch our stream. I'll present.
It's not like we're live streaming this or anything.
Yeah, go watch our stream.
No.
Don't stand here. No, go.
You really
go.
can't stand here.
I need to focus. This is very important. Look, Byakuya's on the screen. Byakuya! Go watch.
Yeah,
go watch your mom's phone.
Yeah, go watch on stream.
So you can go take mom's phone and you can spam our chat. Go. Shoot.
Chat.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Scream. The longer you stay here, the longer it take, the longer it'll be before I'm done to watch anime with
I'm
you.
going to bed right now.
Oh, well, sorry. Bye.
I'm supposed to be in bed in an hour now. That's what I'm
An hour ago.
I go to bed at 9 during school days.
Oh. 9?
No,
Girl, in
I
high school.
track practice every day.
Yeah, in high school, I wasn't done with practice until 9.
Yeah, that's true.
Track ends at like 5.
Good night. I'll see you
Oh,
tomorrow.
Tap practices.
Please make sure you stretch out your calves so you don't get shin splints.
Oh, I already got him.
Okay. Make sure you drink sodium. Bye. Anyways, back to the man of the hour, Byakuya. So, why no like? We'll start with that. Look how sorry, we're really
Like,
white.
really?
I chose a white
Why
back.
did you choose a right background?
I didn't think I heard.
So you thought about everything else but this.
Yeah. So why no like?
So we're just super white right now.
Because so here's the reasons why he is a very popular character.
There's an actual reason I can't talk about it. I forgot until now.
Yeah, let's do it so we can not.
Hurry up! Come on.
Do you have any workout tank tops I can wear?
Yes, I told you, but I can't get it right now. I'm streaming.
Ah!
Talking about my man. You could interrupt me.
Better.
You could have interrupted me during anyone else, but not Byakuya. So
Back to blinding.
Yes. So
Seriously, that
it's
was
because
the
we're
worst
fighting this.
color to use.
Oh my god. So he's very arrogant. He's I think Claire, the way you're describing her, kind of describes him, where he's very arrogant. He's in, that's his opening from the opening thing, like he's in a throne, because his thing is they all have their ultimate skill. His is the ultimate affluent prodigy. Prodigy. Where he's like,
Why'd you have an issue with that word?
because the Game Grumps say it progeny as a joke, and I was like, I don't know what that means.
I
Prodigy.
thought that was your child.
I don't know. Either way, he's the ultimate heir, is what he is. The wealthy heir. Which is essentially the Norian
I think
thing.
better in the chair because he has a waistcoat.
Yeah. That's him like in before this he's in his school uniform on the right, and that's like his whatever royal thing. So he's a jerk pretty much all the time, because you go through the game and you go through your sports scene kind of things with him. He's kind of another character till later on he starts becoming more of like a pseudo third protagonist. You have Makoto, who's the first protagonist, Kyoko, who's the pseudo side protagonist. She's almost like a narrator in the sense of she is pushing the plot along, and then he later on becomes kind of the third one, and I'll explain that on the next slide. So he is mean. He's really mean to everyone, and he's a jerk, and he's super arrogant. And at one point, Kyoko's like,
So
he's like,
you have truly despicable characters on you. Yours aren't like, oh, no one understands. Like, no, he's a jerk.
no, the spotted one has her now. Said, hello, welcome back. He literally at one point he's like, human emotions don't affect me. I'm unaffected by them. Kyoko's like, that will literally turn around and bite you in the butt. It does, obviously. During the next thing, he goes and he messes with the crime scene to imply another student murdered someone, because one of the other students gives a secret to him even though he didn't ask for it. Like, he obviously has been trying to not have people interact with him, but she's like, this girl has like the super gross crush on him. She's like, oh, I love you, and he's like, literally, come near me and I'll beat you up.
That made me feel so uncomfortable just watching you watch it.
Yes,
I could not play the game for that.
has DID, and one of her other alters is a serial killer. Fun, woo, old games. So she tells him that secret, and he's like, I didn't ask to say it. So there's a crime scene, and he finds the crime scene, and he like messes with it to make it look like it's framing the genocider person who's the serial killer, just because he thinks this is all a game. It's a killing game, and he takes it as like, I'm gonna, because his whole thing about him is he's always had to fight for his position, so he just thinks this is another game and another thing he can't lose, and that's literally his thing. He's like, it's just another thing I don't lose. I can't lose. I just don't do that. I'm just the ultimate guy. That's what it says at the bottom. That's like his regular text. That's just a regular conversation with him. How many times do I have to tell you, you're annoying, feel free to crawl off and die? The other girl, he's always like, you're not allowed to talk to me, your breath is so foul, I think I'll expire from it, you know?
I just assumed that because whenever I looked at her, she looked like she was extremely sweaty. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't want that person near me either.
Yes. So let's go on to the next frame of why I like hot, has glasses, and is very attractive.
You're right. Your reasoning's a lot different than mine.
Look at him! He's so beautiful!
No, I just like that mine finished. I literally finished off like, this is the character that changed my worldviews, and you're just like, he's hot.
I've learned that all the characters I currently like in the series, I mean, were all the characters hated when story was first posted.
Get away sometimes.
Best reason. So I mean, look at him. These are all his game sprites, and then this is his animation sprite. Whoa, look at the smile! I kicked the microphone.
Keep it in the box.
He's so hot.
In the box, Melon.
Look at him.
I'm not denying that he is.
That's like one of two times. That's actually the very, very end of the show. This is the last scene of him in the show. They're about to leave the high school. Sorry, spoilers, but this whole thing is spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch, but it's just the first one.
I kept you for your spoilers.
You're not gonna play this game?
I know, but I'm just pointing it out.
The only spoilers is if you think about it too hard. And he literally, that's the only time he smiles. Is he's smiling at Makoto before, like, the very end of the game.
So do people ship them because of that one smile?
Well, there's other reasons they ship them, because at one point, so this is spoilers, if you ever want to play, yeah, exactly. If you ever want to play Dangan Ronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc, spoilers! Spoilers, I'm about to spoil the whole end of the game for you in order to explain his characters. I love this page.
I
know. At one point, the whole point of the thing is they are killing students. Let me go, no, I'll stay on this because his face is really pretty on this one.
I'm
the
sure
whole point of the game
on everyone.
is to kill students, and there's a bunch of stuff I won't go to. But at one point, they find a dead body. They suspect Kyoko, who's the girl. There's the boy Makoto, girl Kyoko Kirigiri. So I might call her Kirigiri if it makes more sense to you.
No, not much more.
The two, and then so they're kind of like the two more or less protagonists. There's you, and then there's this other character who kind of leads you along everywhere. Then they suspect her because she's being kind of sketchy. So then Byakuya is like, hey, give me your key. Like, we don't trust you. So you're not allowed to sleep anywhere except for your dorms. That's a school rule. So until he said, you better talk and tell us, like, what you've been hiding, or give me the key to your dorm so you can't come back in.
Then.
I told you. It's the glasses, baby. And his stunning blue eyes. This one has a filter on it because I took it off of Google Images, but he, like, the blue eyes, icy blue. Anyways.
I have my guy in a suit with glasses in my thing, Melon. I get you.
He's so hot, man. Either way, so she gives him the key, and then she just, like, disappears for 2 days, and then they find a dead body who's a female. And out of the whole group, they're like, well, there's only 5 of us left, and now there's 4 of us are here, and there's a dead body over here, so that's gotta be Kyoko's body. And then, so then for that whole time, up until that trial, because every time you find a dead body, you do a trial to see who the murderer is, he essentially becomes your Kiri, because in the last trial, he thought he knew who it was, because he's super arrogant, and then he was wrong, because he didn't account for the one girl's feelings. So he was completely off, so that he was super, like, embarrassed that he messed up the entire trial. Because every other time he had been right. But this one, because he didn't think of emotions, which remember Kyoko said, not accounting for emotions will kick you in the butt. Well, that did, and he didn't get any, he was super, super off. And so then he kind of had, like, almost a little paradigm shift, actually, which is really cool.
Well, that's the thing I was saying my last one is, like, you can't go full logic, and you can't go full emotions, because it will screw you if you do not... You have to walk in the middle. If you don't, someone will just come in and knock you flat on your back.
And now to the second slide of why I like him, with more pictures of him. Oh, he's so beautiful! He's so pretty. He's good looking. Well, either way, he kind of shifts. He has this paradigm shift. He becomes the new kind of Kyoki. He becomes your second-hand guy now, and he's now your other pseudo-avatar. Yes.
How many of these are him being hot?
Let me go back to... Let me finish my points before I go on then, I guess.
Yeah. How many times did you say he was hot is your reason?
It is! This was really all the points I needed.
I'm a logic mind in the fact that I'll be like, oh, it's redundant to say more than once. You're like, nope, say it 6 times in different words.
Either way, he becomes, like, a good character. And the whole time, through the whole game...
You didn't call it out in the chat.
You're not incorrect. Through the whole game, he essentially it sounds like he's insulting you the whole time as Makoto, but at the end you're like, how much of that was banter or him trying to make friends, because he obviously has no social skills.
Clearly.
Because going on to my next slide will tell well, let me read my points really fast. He's good looking, correct. Basically, the off-brand version of a Norian, which I'll get into in a second. Character
So he
does
has no
nothing
armor?
wrong after. What?
Just no armor?
Yeah, but personality-wise. And like I said, he shifts after being proved wrong in that trial because of the feelings, so he becomes like the other pseudo-protagonists. So, actually, a really common ship is Kirigiri, Makoto, and Byakuya. All three of them together.
Cool.
Because otherwise, the one that you can see the most is obviously Kyoko and Makoto. Because they're...
I'm against poly relationships is one of them is significantly younger than the other two, and that's just weird.
No, it makes sense that they, all three of them, because the other one is they always push Toko is the one that's like always obsessed with him, and obviously no one likes, it's a very toxic ship.
It's so weird.
He's also very nice to look at, he's handsome as frick, and he's got very long legs. Let's go back to his intro picture. Oops, went the wrong way. Homie's also taller than everyone. He's like 6'1".
You know,
So he's very
he
tall.
could be a younger, grumpier husband, to be honest.
Yeah. Good character. Literally, all personality, who's that? Look at his long legs. Those long legs.
Hey,
This is my favorite picture of
I'd
him.
be willing to go and read fanfiction for this guy.
I have. It's good.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about it, so it's different.
Yeah, that's just like the three across are from the animation, and then obviously those are his in-game sprites.
If you have glasses, you have to shift them.
That's his most common thing. I don't have it here because I couldn't find like a PNG one that fit. But normally when he's talking to you, he does this when he's like, the one on the far right is his normal pose, and then he does this whenever he's like thinking, obviously up there.
If you have
But
glasses,
he
you must shift them.
gets a good shift near the end where he obviously still upkeeps the front of being the arrogant guy, but you can tell by the way he says, like, he gives Toko a compliment when she does something right. Well, normally he wouldn't ever do that before, and he like doesn't snap back at other people. It's cool to see him actually grow a little, which is nice. And then you learn in his like their like support system they do for that game where you hang out with people to find more of their personalities. He literally could be a Norian sibling in the way of, I might have told you this before. His thing is his dad is the leader. They're like the world leader. They're like super rich, super business guy. His dad never takes a wife. He only has mistresses, and he keeps having kids until one of them they can usurp the other until they become closer to the level of their dad, and then they'll become the heir to the company. But if anyone else ever uptakes them, they become disowned, and they lose everything. They can't take the last name anymore. They're essentially worthless. It's literally like Nora all over again, except instead of, because in his support,
They
they're
just get disowned, they don't get outright killed.
well, he says, because that's what Makoto says. She's like, what happens to the rest of your siblings? And he's like, oh, they're dead. And he's like, what? He's like, they might as well be because they've been disowned. So the whole purpose they're being born
They
for,
literally are dead.
literally, the whole purpose they're being born for is this, and then, so that's what, he is the youngest of 15 siblings, and he's the youngest of them, and he's had that's why it reminded me so much of Nora, because he's, from the moment he's been born, he's had to fight the whole time, his whole life, to try and stay on the top of everyone. That's why he has no friends, no social skills, because he never needed it before, never needed emotion, only needed to win. And that's why I liked, it reminded me a lot of
That sort
Nora.
of drive always comes back to bite you.
Yeah, it reminded me of Norse, so that's why it's cool to see throughout the game how Makoto almost wears him down to make him start caring, even if he doesn't express it. Because at the end of the game, the final thing he says is, if you guys are ever having any troubles, you know where to find me. And then he goes, I can't guarantee you I'll listen, but you know. So he's like, he says something heartfelt, then, does a little thing to try and cover up the fact that he does have emotions.
That's the cool character thing that, used to be with Shadow and Zion and all the others. Is like, well, it reminds me of, I recently read a Shadow comic, but I remember there was this thing where, like, Shadow and Sonic team up, and Rouge goes and says, like, wow, it's almost like you guys are getting along. He's like, he has my respect, that's all. And, like, he's like, yeah, because it's too scandalous for you two to be friends.
Yeah, so that's why
and,
people
like,
actually...
You can't let the cool quota go.
Yeah, they ship him with... Because at first when I looked at that, I was like, who would they ship? Because I didn't ship him with anyone. I was like, me. Ship him with me, baby!
You've done that with a lot of guys.
Ship him with me! But I saw that him and Makoto were a popular pairing because Makoto does wear him down to become more human-like. And they would pair him with Kyoko because Makoto and Kyoko are more pushed. It's like, you know how like Prom and Sumiya at the beginning of the game are kind of like, there's nothing.
If you want me to be impressed with the ship, then don't use that as a comparison.
No, but I'm saying I honestly, like it's like gently pushed at you, but then they back off. They don't like push it for forever. In the anime, I feel like it's pushed a little bit more, which is fine because I think it's a reasonable ship. Like they grow together, obviously throughout this whole
Yeah,
thing.
you should just say Chrome and Robin.
But it wasn't as close as Krama and Robin. I feel like that was okay. Next character, also from Dangan, but I don't want to go back. He'll be back for the people where I know, but it won't go as long as he'll be back for the next PowerPoint of people I'm in love with. So this is also a guy from the same game.
His power is to defy gravity with his hair.
Yeah, Yasuhiro Hagakure. He is the ultimate clairvoyant, which means he does, you know, tarot cards and that stuff.
So I was right with his hair. It is psychically being lifted.
It's not psychic. He's just got puffy hair. It's not psychically being lifted.
Definitely. If he's a psychic, that's definitely how he's
well,
doing it.
He's doing, you know, tarot cards. He actually is 21. He's actually 21. He's been held back a bunch of times. So why not like? Because he does this and he looks dumb. Olivia said she thought he was annoying when we watched the show and she hoped he died, and I was like, okay, well, here we go. He's very, very stupid. He's been held back multiple times because he's so dumb. Everyone else is supposed to be a freshman. He's 21 because he's been held back so many times. He's not helpful in the class trials because he's too dumb. So when people are like, well, that doesn't make sense, like the murder weapon was found here, but then the wounds of the inflicted death don't match the murder weapon. He's like, no, it was aliens! You know, that kind of thing. Like, he's just very stupid. So it makes things a little difficult because you have to get through his big blockhead. Also, he's got bad hair. I think his hair is dumb.
It's so dumb.
And it's weird.
I'm telling you, he's holding it up psychically.
Next thing, why like? Because he's very stupid. Back in the check out Discord and I found this rating here. Yes, here he is. So the reason why he's disliked is because he's very stupid, and why I like, he's very stupid. He's definitely a comedy relief character. He's very stupid. Well, yes. Don't worry, one of his points is hair, but I think they're supposed to be dreadlocks, maybe? I don't know.
Psychic dreadlocks.
Yeah, he's a little confusing. One of the things in-game, in one of the middle of trials, is he was talking about, because they thought they saw a ghost, but it wasn't. It was something else. And he fully believed it was a ghost because one time he thought aliens stole his hamburger. Because he thought he saw the hamburger rise into the air and get stolen by aliens. I think he was on a drug trip. He was tripping balls.
So what's his ability again?
Ultimate clairvoyant. Which means he's supposed to be like the ultimate like tarot card fortune teller reader guy.
Clairvoyants are people that like see the future usually through dreams.
Well, that's just, it might have come through translation. It's also different game to game.
Fair enough.
Because the anime translated as super high school level, with the game translated as ultimate. So it's really just translation finicky things. He's right 20 to 30% of the time. Maximum.
That's the best I could get for the ultimate?
Yes. So funny. Why I like him, he's also too dumb to be harmful. So that's good for him. I just thought I should stand up for him a little bit because Olivia said she hated him. I was like, well, what if other people hate him? He's not bad, he's just stupid. But he's funny, and that's why we will keep him. Next slide. Corin!
That's the reason we kept Wheatley.
Honestly. So here I have male Corin and female Corin. At the top, all the games are listed for what games I've experienced with them. Yay! So first we're talking about their base games and then other stuff. So why not like general though for both of them? So I did see a lot of this on the Reddit friends. I saw they're bland, they're too lucky / Mary Sue, which makes sense. They happen to find Elise in the giant Norian fortress. They happen to do this. They happen to survive this thing. They happen to get the Yato blade.
By definition, all lords are Mary Sues.
Shh, you're not allowed to fight back because I know you'll over-talk me on this. No, you guys, let me go and let me do this. This is my time to shine, baby. My time to shine. They're loved by everyone unconditionally. I didn't think about this one until someone brought it up. Like, after they kill Xander and Elise, they're just still accepted by Leo and Camilla. After they killed, like, they're not, like, shunned or anything, which I think just shows the strength of the Norian relationships. But even the same, after they kill Ryoma and Takumi, they're still taken back, which doesn't make as much sense because they don't really have a bond with them. And they were all sad about being betrayed and whatnot. So, but they still got taken back. So that's why I was like, that makes sense. Flat character, that comes a lot from being an avatar. However, I understand what they're saying they try to give him a personality, try to give him this and that, but they still came out too flat. I agree. I think they, in trying to give them a personality, it made it more blatantly obvious how they just didn't really fit into the world. They didn't blend with a lot of the characters because it was just, they're trying too hard, not trying hard enough. Like they said too strong / grows powerful too quickly. Correct, how they think they'd be able to overtake their, older brothers in battle and all that stuff when they couldn't even wield a sword and now they're a dragon and they're super strong. Makes sense. Another sword user in Smash. That's why people didn't like them. We talked about that at length because sword users. For the male specific, and a lot of times the reincarnations of the voice doesn't quite match the characterization of the character. We're supposed to be naive, more weak, shy, stumbling. You know, like someone who isn't exposed to the world.
He's got a deep voice in Warriors.
And yet, homie's got a deep voice. And then in Conquest, he doesn't fit because the role of being more feeble and naive fits
as a name.
is a little bit better for, you know, you think a small girl for that. So having this male character there, it doesn't fit as much because the other male characters, you see, it's because when you see Leo, he's the same thing where he's insecure and he's not strong and he wants to be, but he's not. But you see that he's still pushing for it because he's expected to as a male heir. So you're wondering, why is Korrin given this free pass? It makes more sense with a girl. When you come to Hoshido, though, there isn't as strong of an expectation, at least outwardly, because they have the mother figure instead of Garon. So it makes more sense if he's in the birthright, but this is just the Wino like. He doesn't fit in Conquest. Female specific, she's very underwhelming in Birthright. There's not character growth. There's not a lot of connection through supports. She just feels very meh. And she's able to hold more influence in situations than older brothers, where if you're in Hoshido and you're in this giant honor-based society, shouldn't the male first heirs have more power than the female, and yet they bow down to her with no questions asked, even though she wasn't even raised there. So reasons why not. So, why like male Korrin? Look at how pretty. He's pretty. That's point number one. He's so pretty. Look at him. So pretty. He can be a good character, especially if playing off other siblings, but not suitable for an avatar role. What that means is when you're looking at when you're looking at supports, they can bring out good parts of other characters in the supports. Yes, prettiness is a good factor for a lot of these characters.
When isn't that the reason?
Honestly, but look, he's so pretty in this. That's why he fits Birthright, because it's a pretty game. It's this. They've got the cherry blossoms and they've got the beautiful fortresses. And
he can be the bastion for his younger sisters, because like you said, males are more authority figures in the Hoshidan culture than Norware's time of free for all.
That's why I think he's good. He's not a good Avatar character because there's too much. It's in the weird area. Too much personality for you to attach to. Not enough personality to be a good character on its own. So you're sitting here like, I don't resonate with this character in any faction, so why should I care about them? But it can be a good character, stand alone, attached to other things, because especially if you attach them and build that relationship, if you keep both of them canon, build that relationship with the family they're in, then he becomes a really good character. This is him in Fire Emblem Heroes. They have this thing with Azura where she has them all in their outfits. Yeah. So then this is his second page where he's got more outfits. Here you've got his Hoshidan Winter Festival or Autumn Festival outfit, whatever it's called. Then they've got Fallen Korrin up there where he's given into the dark thing.
His dragon.
Dark stuff. And then the card, the little rectangle, is the card from Fire Emblem Cypher. That's him as a Hoshidan noble. Where I think he just fits him best. Also, I think because his hair is slightly more blonde than female Korrin's, hers is more white and also it's long, it gets lost in the white of the Hoshidan outfit. That's another reason why I think just aesthetically he looks better in Birthright, because you can get that separation more between the clothes.
Also that comes with the Hoshidan outfit fits his build better than it does a female build. It makes her look too thick around the waist.
Just looking at the Fallen Korrins, I looked at all of their heroes things. His Fallen, I'm gonna be real, his Fallen outfit looks way cooler than females. His Fallen artwork looks way cool. He just looks cooler.
I think they're equally cool, but I can see what you're saying.
I think he looks cooler. So, as I said last time, it works well as a brother in the Hoshidan Birthright story, because they have this more thing of brothers are here, sisters are here. And even though they're siblings, they're still separate. The girls and the boys aren't on
hierarchy.
They aren't on equal footing, and they are siblings, but they're not equals. Whereas you have Nor, where everyone is. Camilla and Xander might be on the same mark, and Leo and Elise might be on the same mark. The only reason they're not, on the same step is simply because of age. And simply because of power.
In some ways, it's because the older ones are trying to keep the younger ones from having to live that lifestyle.
It's not because they're girls and boys. It's because just age and power and experience. Versus, that's why I feel male Corrin fits in a lot more with Birthright, because he can be weak because he's the bottom rung of the boys. He's growing up into this role, so it's okay. But if he's in Conquest, you're like, okay, well, how come you're older than these two? So you should be more powerful because age equals power equals level. Why are you at the bottom when you're older? So that's why I think he works good in Birthright, and I only like him when he's in a Birthright incarnation. Whether it's Warriors base, whether it's Heroes, whether it's Birthright itself, the game. I only like him in that. I do not like him in Conquest. I do not like him in Revelations. I like him slightly in Birthright. I'd rather just not in the game. And I like him in Warrior, Cypher, and Heroes are the ones I say where he's canonly the Birthright protagonist. I like that more. So that's why I say he's best as an alternate version of a DLC or DLC of a main character. Instead of being the avatar, he's good like in Smash, where they're a character, but they're not an avatar. So I think that's the best one. Because then we go to female Corrin. Well, I don't like her. She looks better in Norian armor.
This is the Child of Dusk, so therefore she is my child.
She vibes with Conquest. She vibes. Look at her. Yeah, she, that's her Heroes. That's the Child of Dusk one, where she is the Norian Noble. This is her Norian Noble outfit. And she looks very good. Look at that. Spicy fresh.
She's got an awesome dragon form.
I like the neck thing. That's my favorite thing. And her, see, we have a little bit more Cypher cards here. The top one...
Oh, I want that one on the top.
The top one is her with the Norian family as the Norian Noble. And I think she just... I just think she fits more. Because as a female, when she's growing up and she starts weak and she grows through the ranks, it makes more sense because Elise is still in that weak spot, but she's not by any means powerless. Whereas Sakura is weak and powerless. And
she's more allowed to be weak because...
And that's fine because she's expected to be as the youngest sister. Whereas if you have female Corrin and Birthright, you're like, okay, you're not the youngest sister, so you can't be powerless, even though you are more powerless than her. Shouldn't you be strong like Hanoka because you're an older sister? It's the same exact thing as male Corrin in Nor. She's the same thing if she was in Birthright. That's why she makes more sense in Nor, because she's more okay.
You stumbled on something really interesting there, actually, that you just mentioned. I think the thing that really changes the perspective of these two Corrins is the elder sister.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I just know what you just said, like, Hanoka is a more fierce warrior. She's literally kind of playing the role of a male, so it is kind of makes sense that you have to kind of align with that, so it makes sense for that, while Camilla and Nor is a much more motherly role. She's busy protecting people and loving on them than she is trying to be fierce. So in some ways, she gives more room for Corrin to still be sweet and sensitive.
Mm-hmm. That's why I think she works. She really works in North. That's the same thing as male Corrin. I only like her in her Norian incarnation. Only in Heroes, Warriors, Smash, those kind of things. Games outside of her main games. And Revelation and Conquest is fine. I just prefer it when they're not in an avatar role overall. Because I can see a lot of the flaws that I do agree with them. Just because when I played through, I never resonated with Corrin. She was just someone I had to use. So that's why when I had to go through, I'm trying to get out of that mindset for Robin, because Robin has more of a set personality. So when I'm doing supports, I'm like, oh, they're saying that, and that's cool. Like, they have a set stance on this, or set stance on this, or a little bit of sass. Corrin is very much like, in a way.
Yeah.
Like, at some points I'll be mad, but some points I won't, and I don't have a set thing. Like, Robin's thing is I'm a strategist. I like reading books, and I like doing strategy, and blah, blah, blah. And Corrin was just kind of like, I got a sword, and I turn into a dragon.
Well, it does kind of, that's why I think the other reason...
Keep the table.
That is another reason I think that the Norian version of Corrin works better, because it would make more sense as a Norian, she'd be a people pleaser, because that's literally how you survive in that royal family.
Mm-hmm.
You don't cause a fuss. So it would make more sense for her to be a people pleaser as opposed to in Hoshido, where honestly it's more about being the strong leader sort.
I think it's also interesting when you look at her card art, they draw her with white hair instead of this light blonde to show that because when I played the game I was like, she's got this blonde hair, so she looks really related to the Norian siblings, 3 of 4 who are blonde. Elise has purple streaks that she dyes in her hair to look like Camilla. Otherwise all of them are naturally blonde. Versus Hoshido, where you have one dusty blonde. His hair looks like hers, but they're not related.
Yeah, I feel like they literally made Takumi's hair that color is like, oh, Dang it,
No.
we need to give someone to look like Corrin.
Make it more gray. Yeah. So that's, I think, essentially they did it to white to differentiate that she's not actually related to them. But when you look at it, in her other artwork, it's obviously
She
blonde.
looks like she fits in.
And she fits in a lot more there. Because in here we have the Dreams one, the one just like male Corrin. And then the bottom one is her Warriors sprite. I don't think there's a male Corrin warrior. I couldn't find one.
There is, but he's an alternate costume.
Okay, so I couldn't find
So
it.
he would have been underneath female Corrin as an alternate, like you said in the last slide.
Yeah, whatever. And then there's her Child of Dusk in the middle. And then there's her summer outfit, and on the far side is her fallen outfit, where she looks good, but she looks more kind of. It makes her sense of character. She looks more reserved, like more like, oh, I'm trying to contain it. Whereas fallen male Corrin is more lashing out because he doesn't have these restrictions anymore.
I think that's the big difference, is that female Corrin is still fighting against the, and she's kind of afraid of what she can do. Male Corrin has kind of just been like, yeah, I gave up, and I'm just going to try and stay as far away from people as possible.
Yeah. Next slide. So this is next character. I think I even went over those. Yeah, she's good at words. She can pull off true protagonists, like, you know how male Robin is like the canon guy. She can pull a female Corrin is the canon girl. I just think attaching them to the game does make a big difference.
I think you hit the nail on the head with definitely the fact that they don't have enough personality to be their own built character, because they have too much personality for an avatar. So that's why she really shines way more in Warriors, where she's literally just being herself.
Yeah, fits a lot more. Continuing on the same one.
I debated putting her on my list. I'm not gonna,
Camilla!
Not gonna lie.
I was
debated
so
putting her on my
surprised
list.
seeing this, because I thought she was loved. I thought when they saw boobs, I thought everyone was like, we love it!
It's
The
way Tarsha's
boobs!
loved. It's not for the character, it's for the body.
But here, I didn't have any other pictures of her. This is her official game artwork, where she's on, so you can see her mount. She's on her dragon. Her dragon is so cool. Yeah, I could look at this picture for forever. She's so pretty.
It's a good-looking dragon.
It's such a good. I couldn't figure out where to put this, so I had to put it on this page
And
because
even
I wanted
looking
you to
at
be able
this,
to see
when
it.
you look, the thing that I think is I want to point out is like they accentuate it too much in some pictures, but I'm like, when you look at something like this, what's the first thing you're looking at with Camilla? I'm like, honestly, it's
Her
more
hair.
her hair. It's like you don't notice she's well endowed.
She's
sure,
got
but
the
it's like,
shoulder
but
shrug.
like honestly, for someone
Also,
who's
Kagero's got her boobs out all game. Kagero's like, "Wah, wah," and she's like leaning
she's
over.
wearing nothing.
Kagero's got her boobs out all the time.
But-
There's other people. There's that one archer from Three Houses that I keep seeing in Heroes. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
whoa. Can you draw your bow back? Because your boobs are so huge.
Yeah, it's
Logistically, does that work?
I don't know. But see, her thing is like everyone says about her being like a super like sex model and stuff like that. I'm like, not really. Ultimately, especially for someone who technically is a dark mage who are normally scantily clad anyway since Awakening. Like, actually, that's not the first thing you see on her outfit. It's like she's on a giant dragon.
But don't worry, I included a ton more pictures so you can see her boobs fully. Why no like? People don't like the flirty mentality. They don't like how she's possessive and protective. They didn't like her boobs.
Really,
What?
I like that. That's the thing they have an issue with.
They didn't like how she was obsessed with Corn, and they thought her character was shallow. So here, images, you have, I tried to use damage art for this. You have her as the Queen of Nor, this way. The Queen of Nor in the top left, that's from Heroes. The bottom left is her hero sprite. In Heroes, I will say they take everyone's boobs and they're huge. Doesn't matter if they had boobs in the game.
Doesn't matter.
In Heroes, they said, "Hey, you're a girl, boing boing." So you can, but you can see.
I am so Mexican about that.
You can see on the right side of the screen though are her two sprites from her game. The top one is her character sprite, and the bottom one is like the skinship sprites they
And
took
also, let's
out.
remind for the top one, you can see about a corner off of that because you gotta remember this is the corner of a DS screen. So actually,
These are all blown up very large.
It's more like you see like to her shoulder and kind of a little bit.
This is their full, like, this is what you would see when you looked at their character art in-game. Not like a conversation art, like you'd go to the archive, be like, character art, this girl, and select them from the archives. And that's, so you can see what she looks like in our base game versus the wild exaggerations.
But everyone has huge boobs in Heroes.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Heroes. They were like, hey, hope you wanted more boobs.
Fan service sells.
Here you go. So why I like, she's so pretty. She's a very good unit in battle.
She's strong.
For the longest time, I only had her paired up behind people, because if I didn't, everything would attack her and she'd kill them all and no one else would get levels. And that was like the first level I got her. I was like, okay, chillax with being strong. She's got a cool dragon, because it's a malignite, so it's an undead dragon, which is really cool. And she has purple hair, and purple's my favorite color. This is her. I have this unit in Heroes. This is the same as before. I think it's like Legendary or Brave Camilla, where she is the Queen of Nor. So you can see, but actually, which is interesting, you can see here in her base sprite, all the Wyvern Riders, that's a Wyvern Rider thing, none of them wear pants. But it's similar to when you look at Pegasus Knights with the short skirts, because it's hard to, when you bend your legs, especially when you are an armored unit like a Nor, it's hard. That's why Corrin doesn't actually wear, like, pants. They have it so when they sit, their armor doesn't clash. That's why they actually have the gaps between that.
There actually is a reason for why they do these things.
Because I wonder, because if you look at her torso piece, it bends so it attaches to her thighs when she's sitting, because in this form, she is still mounted on a wyvern. So you can see how that is. But I think it's interesting, she has the tights, so there's actually no skin shown. And she has a high neck. So the only thing you get is top of the boobies. And that's it. She's got the gloves. I mean, she's fully covered, and she's got, like, 3 capes.
Can we also say the fact that, like, even when she's in a support role where she's healing
she's
people,
a healer.
she's still an immensely powerful mage?
Yeah, she's a healer here. She's not even an axe unit. She's a healer in this form. But she's on my main team.
Still kills.
S support with Claude. Love that. And here's why. Norian armor is cool. Have you seen her as a queen? That is the one from the last slide. And referring to the boobs, Charlotte is showing way more, and she's so annoying, and I hate her. That's on my characters that people like that I hate, because people on Reddit were like, but Charlotte does this, and Charlotte's... I was like, shut up. I'll come through your computer screen and knock you in the noggin. She's had to fight to live and watch her siblings die, and that's trauma, baby. And look how good she's turned out. Because people are like, well, you can't expect her. I was like, yes, the way she's possessive and obsessive is definitely some sort of mental illness. Like, I'm not going to be, like, making excuses, like, a lot of times the actions are not right. But also, have you seen the sheer amount of trauma the 4 of them have been through?
Well, it's not just, and it's not even just the fact of fighting to live. It's like, she's the eldest princess because she's the last one standing. There could have been others before her, and there definitely were some after her. But it's like, and their moms too, because her mom was absolutely horrible. She didn't even have love whatsoever from her mom. So her biggest thing that she's so loving and doting on people is that she doesn't want anyone to have to feel... She says this in, like, one support, which is, I think, the failing of her character in Fates, is they should have told you this more, instead of just one support. Mm-hmm. But the thing they say is, like, yeah, the reason she's so doting on people, she doesn't want anyone to ever feel as lonely as she did. She doesn't want to feel like you have to do something to earn love. You should just be given it in loads. And potentially that comes off a little too strong. But, like you said, it's because she's had to watch her siblings die. They're there at breakfast, they're gone at lunch, and maybe she was the one who killed them. Who knows?
Exactly. It's like, it's very much like, it makes sense when you look at her scores.
Great. I love her bottom art.
Yeah. And that's when you look at it with Leo and Elise, they have a similar story as well. It's like the way they might be, they have certain personality traits. A lot of it is from the traumas they've experienced just living in the Norian thing. And Camilla is like that because Corrin is adopted, and Camilla is one of the few that knows. I don't know if Elise does, or like all of them do.
Elise, well, it's more like Xander and Camilla were the ones that were oldest at the time. So it's more like the other 2 would have been told later, but they wouldn't have known it for several years.
Yeah.
These 2 knew from the outset.
Camilla she was so overbearing on Corrin because she knew she was adopted, and that she had even less chance to survive than his actual biological children.
She was completely lost and had no memories of who she was.
She did that because she's like, I can't let another person die under my watch. So I definitely understand that. And one of the things I think is a plus is she's not overly sexual. She's got her boobs up, but she's not like Charlotte's whole character is using her body to attract to other people. And that's why I think I like that Camilla, actually, if you look at her supports, Niles is way more lewd and whatnot, you know?
She'll actually call other people out on it and actually...
Like, hey, look up here, buddy-o.
Yeah, like, that's her end of thing in Warriors. She's like, my eyes are up here. Like, she's not sexualized at all, honestly. She's a more mom character than anything else because she's constantly taking care of her siblings and anyone else who she considers under her care. But she's not for 1 second going to bow down to some guy because they like her body.
Exactly.
She will bash them over the head.
Yeah, because then this top art and this one directly to the side are from the in-game. Those are from base game sprites. You can tell by the way her axe is. That's her base game axe. The one to like this way, like there's a little
on the left or
the
on the
little
right?
hero sprite, the one closest to the text on the right, top right, is her in-game sprites from Warriors. That's her Warrior
Position
sprite.
change actually changes a lot of the attitude of that picture, which is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because you can see the difference between these are two from base game sprites. These are not fan art. This is not, you know, like Heroes has different artwork. These are from full-fledged console ported games. So you can see the difference in. We can also see her armor, which it makes a lot of sense. You can see how all the ridges sit. You can see even just the difference from her first game to the second game appearance she had. The difference in where it sits on the hips, how high the leg pieces come, how the chest piece changes. You can even see what's most interesting, I think, to the piece immediately to the right is you can't see her boobs at all in that picture. In a lot of her things, she is sitting like this, or she's like
trying
this,
to show herself
or
off.
she's turned to the side, and she has that chest piece, like the shoulder covering. So I think it's interesting because it's not.
Well, that's her box art on the bottom, right before next to the screenshot.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you can't see anything at all, really. She just looks like a regular person.
Exactly, and then the bottom right is from a cutscene in Warriors. That is in-game footage.
Yeah, she's just so pretty of a character, honestly.
Yeah, so it's like, I will defend her to the end of days because she's so pretty and she's such a good character and I love her a lot.
And it comes down to, I think, the Norian family in general is just a stronger family unit because they do know what suffering and loss is from an early age, so they will do anything to protect each other.
And speaking of suffering and loss, let's move on to our next characters
Interesting.
who causes suffering and loss. I was surprised to see this one. A lot of people were talking about how much they hated Perry. And I was like, that's such a random character. She's not like a main character. She is one of Xander's
I think that
retainers.
I can probably guess the reasons why.
The reason they don't like her is because they don't like her
That's
voice.
what I thought. Voice.
They hated her voice. They didn't like that she was a vicious murderer. They didn't like that she was too aggressive. Her character was focused on killing and being, I love killing stuff and killing things. And they thought she was not redeemable through support. They thought her supports were just bland. And they didn't like that she was so obsessed with death and dark topics, which we'll return later. You can see in her support with the male corn, her lines, and then the bottom one says the best way to a man's heart is the fourth and fifth rib.
True.
So you can see the first image to the left up there is her in-game sprite from her game.
She benefits
and then-
more from heavy shadows than she does heavy highlights.
Mm-hmm. The one to the right is her hero sprite. I agree. I think she looks better because in the other one she looks too cotton candy, which I think contrasts too much with her personality. I think having a little bit of that.
That one looks like that could have come naturally. That one looks like, no, you colored that.
Yeah, I like the more bleak-esque. Wait, I got her married to
still a Nor.
Laszlo because I thought their support was fine. I liked Laszlo a lot though.
I never got that far because I was playing Conquest and you were trying to survive.
I got them in
It
Revelations.
didn't matter.
So
who
why
knew who.
do I stand up for this character and not just ignore it? Well, her hair's really nice. So that's one thing. And I only got like 3 or 4 for supports. I didn't get a ton, but I got enough that I had multiple options for marriage. I didn't think she was that bad.
Also, we have a lot of characters that just like to hide their face behind their hair, don't we?
Yes, well she is Norian. So,
That is a Nor thing.
because you can tell based on the clothes she wears. I liked her like,
But she got high heels. I never even noticed that.
yeah, because she's mounted units. You never see her when she's standing. Diddy. I didn't think
Harley Quinn.
I
That's
liked
exactly
her
what she
voice
reminds me of.
because, yeah, I was like, she just sounded like a Harley Quinn character. So the fact that everyone, you know,
You
was
love Harley Quinn, but not
drooling
like
all
her.
over Harley Quinn, they didn't like her. I thought her voice was fine. I liked that it was different from other characters because it wasn't she wasn't trying to be seductive, she wasn't to be dark. She had like a childish voice because she acted
You know what?
childish.
Does she remind you of Henry?
Vaguely.
Well, it's more. I'm gonna say that.
I'll get to that later, so just wait on that point for now. Sorry. I have other characters who I think you'll want to see first before we go there. So, when you look at it, like, isn't she just a Harley Quinn, but a typical DC not hero? You know? Any of those are like, aha, blood, I'm rich, death is fun, that kind of stuff, you know? Like, she just feels very like a DC character, in my opinion. And I thought she fit the vibe of Conquest, because the general vibe I got from Conquest is the rejects. The rough and tough. You got Niles, you got,
Which, to give a little thing, Niles tried to kill his lord before he was actually trying to rob him, and then he got caught, so therefore he got a job.
Yeah, and then Baruka, who's literally an assassin who failed to assassinate Camilla, that's how she got her job. I'm trying to think of you got Odin, who is just like a...
He's literally spouting superhero lines all the time, so
He's
people think he's crazy.
Owain, but as a dark mage, so he's literally the same guy, so he's got that very eccentric personality. Then you've got Laszlo, which is just Inigo, but as a sword wielder, so he's very much still like, haha, ladies, what's up, baby? So you still got that personality. I'm trying to think of that. Her pair is, I think, Laszlo.
She's paired with Laszlo.
Laszlo is Xander's other retainer. And then the other retainer is Arthur, and I think Charlotte is her other...
No,
Effie.
Selena.
Effie. Charlotte and... No, is Effie, Arthur, Selena, and Baruka. And Selena is just Severa. Then again, Arthur has chronic bad luck. It's very funny. And Effie is the big bulky lady who loves to eat.
I remember another reason why people didn't like Camilla, but we'll come back to that.
Okay, so that's what's like... All of their retainers, very much more so than the Birthright side, had these... They were the outcasts, the offshoots, the weirdos, the ones that no one would accept, and somehow they're protecting the royals, the highest of the high. Versus the Birthright, where they have the highest of the high, and then they have the highest of the high retainers. The strongest warrior, the most royal and regal ninja that's been serving you for years and years and years. So I was like, I actually resonate a lot more with the characters on this side, because I was like, they're not, you know, the coolest of the cool. They're just them. That's what I was like, I was going to stand up for her. I was like, she doesn't stand out from anyone else.
Yeah.
Baruka talks about killing tons of people. She killed her own master.
I think it's more like...
I think it's people didn't get enough supports to see outside of it.
What I can say is that Perry isn't one of my favorites just because I don't like Harley Quinn either, to be honest. So I'm kind of in the middle where...
I'm fine with it.
Well, no. What I'm going to say about that is that I'm like, I don't like Harley Quinn, so obviously I'm probably not going to be a big fan of Perry. The thing is, like, I agree with you, though, is like, just the fact that she has those traits and she loves death, that's not a reason to dislike the character. If you don't like that kind of character, then fine. More power to you.
Just don't use them.
Then you don't like the character because you never would have liked that character. Disliking her, like you said, because she has these traits when we have a bunch of other murderers walking around in Conquest, holding that against her when everyone else has just as much blood on their hands is nonsensical. It's like, why change the standard for her alone?
Yeah, they said they didn't like it because she's rich. So they didn't like that she was just killing servants left and right when she wanted. Yes.
Oh, I didn't
she's
know
from
that
a royal family, like a noble...
Again, I didn't use her, so I don't know these things.
She's rich, so she's from like a noble thing, and Niall, so I think, tried to rob her once, and that's how they met. And she would just kill servants all the time whenever she felt like, and that was part of her thing. But that's what I think. I thought it was interesting because that gives sets a very low bar, which means she has a ton of room to grow. So I think a lot of people probably got halfway through supports and didn't get to the end. Because in a lot of them, she starts out the same petulant child who wants her way, wants to kill stuff, does everything. And a lot of other people are like, hey.
Really good anime character, actually.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, you can't do that. So in her support, she grows and like, hey, maybe I can't kill stuff all the time, or maybe I'll compromise. Instead of killing this dog, I'll kill this bug over here, you know? Like a small compromise, but it shows that she is learning, albeit these little steps, but she is learning. So it's like, I thought it was, I liked her though, because I thought she gave her good room to grow in a lot of stuff.
Really, that's all that really matters in a character's growth.
And I thought her hair was cool because it's two-tone.
Yeah.
And that's her cipher card of her in a ninja form.
It's a pity that she doesn't have kids that have two-tone hair.
No, I got her Soleil, and I don't remember if her hair came out pink or blue, but I think probably blue because it probably comes out by her base color. I don't remember. Either. Beep boop beep. Shinon!
Doing throwback. People don't like him?
People don't like him. And I was like, no, why? From Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn.
So I actually looked up some lists. I was literally going off my own knowledge.
I just went off of literally like 2 Reddit posts. That's it. What the like? He's rude. He's racist, I think.
Oh, he's very racist.
He's, okay, good to know. He's arrogant. He's a jerk. Has a big ego, and he's not nice. He sounds a lot like a character we already had earlier today.
Actually,
minus the racist part.
You kind of used four the same words to say the same thing.
Yes, that's what I do with Bianca.
Mean.
It's a gag. It's the point. It's called
humor.
It's called being funny, Evie.
You did call the other guy hot for like 3 slides.
It's called being funny. It's called making a joke. It's okay. Someday you'll learn. We'll get you there. So up here you can see his sprites. The first one, the more pixelated one, is his one from Radiant Dawn. The one to the right of that is his one from Path of Radiance. The bottom full body picture is from Fire Emblem Heroes. The top right screenshot is from Path of Radiance. You can tell by the great graphics. It says the sad thing, guys, it's more about making ourselves feel better than saving the life of another, because he is very mercenary-esque in that. And then the bottom one, he's talking to Janeth, which was the Lagoos. They are a hawk. And they said, what did you call me? Because odds are they called them a slur.
Oh yeah, because that's all Sharon ever does.
He called Lagoos subhumans, because that's, like, it was their insult to them, because he did think of them a lot lower than him.
I thought that was actually what made him cool.
A lot of people hated him.
He's
apparently
equally a jerk to everyone.
They didn't like him because he was a jerk, and I was like, okay, you don't like him because he's a jerk archer, or archers anything other than jerks or Takumi? No,
or they cry.
They're either
there's two kinds.
You're either Takumi or they're not. And why I like, he's cool, and he's an archer and also a guy, so automatically puts him high on the list. I love archers and who are guys. He's got a great ponytail. We've learned that I love guys who are archers with great ponytails, Takumi. Yep. And then he's very cool. He's just a cool guy.
He's also super skilled. Like they.
And also, he grows throughout.
Jerk or not, he definitely.
He grows throughout his supports, because you can have supports with the Lagoos, and he learns to not be such a jerk. But generally, he's a jaded guy, and it's not because of some past trauma or something. It's just
another person in the company.
It just is just who he is, and I actually appreciated that, because for once, it's not like, oh,
I have to be redeemed.
Yeah, I gotta have this redeem. He's just a guy who's just a grumpy old guy. He's just a grumpy jerk guy, and I actually like that.
Can you believe he's only 27?
I believe he's 27. Because that's old for Fire Emblem standards.
Fair enough.
So here's more of his artwork. You get a nice cipher picture.
Okay, a child.
He is an awesome unit. He's a marksman. That is a 3rd class. You can see immediately to the right, it's a little dark, but that's his Wii sprite from the Wii game, because Radiant Dawn is on the Wii, so graphics can only get so good, baby. But he can go 3rd class. Best. I think that's the only unit ever that can go 3rd class. So good. He's got a great cutscene at the beginning of the game. Very cool. He's super cool and very swag. He does come around to characters through supports such as Rolf, who's a big whiny weepy baby, and he still agrees to teach him and like not beat him up. So that's very admirable. And then he is in Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. Both. It's very important that he's in both. So by default, a better Fire Emblem character, because if you're in both, you're already better than 90%. And also, yeah, because he's so cool. At the bottom left half sprite is his Path of Radiance. His bottom right half sprite is his Radiant Dawn. You can tell by the difference in the color of his little cloaky sash thing. And the fact that he's less slouchy, but now his face looks a little bit older.
I think the thing that's interesting about Sean is, one, his devotion to being a jerk, essentially. Mm-hmm. But it's also like...
It's never like a front he puts up.
No,
it's just him. And I actually really appreciate that, because so
not
often
like an
you always
insecurity.
Well, like Byakuya, it's kind of like a front, or like he just doesn't know better. For Shinon,
it's an insecurity.
Yeah, for Takumi and Leo also, it's just they put it up because they don't know what else to put up. They're afraid of showing their weakness. For Shinon, it's nice because that's just him. He's just
he's just a jerk.
Yeah, he's just a grumpy guy. And that's why I really liked him, because it was like, for once, he's a simple character. He's just he's just rude. And it's not like he's not to the level of Byakuya's rudeness.
No. He's
not gonna call you a slug that eats grime every time they breathe. But he's not gonna call you sweetheart like Niles. That's why I
do think that also is a special case among archers. But the thing is with Sean also is that, like, his definition of confidence, not arrogance. Because he might seem arrogant, because there is a stereotype of the arrogant sniper. But the thing is, he's so freaking good at what he does.
He's literally the best archer unit out of all of Fire Emblem,
no one comes close.
Because he can promote to the 3rd class. He goes archer, sniper, marksman. No one else, just by sheer stat growth, can literally top him, because no one else has the 3rd class potential.
Any other unit in that game.
Yeah, even if you're like, oh well, they're better. Well, just by default of a 3rd class, he already beats out everyone else. And then when you get to Fire Emblem Heroes, he's a 5-star locked character. 5 stars is as high as you can get. You can't get him anything other than 5-star. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so he's locked at highest level.
He also has a signature Deadeye.
Yeah, when you try to fight him, you're gonna die, because he's really, really strong. I'm like, why? I'm hitting you in the face. And he's like, oh, actually, I'm going to just kick you in the shins, and you're gonna die. Because I can. I'm like, hey,
bow over your head.
Stop that. And I love throughout his different artworks, because the top left picture is from Heroes, but then the middle picture is actually, I think, from Path of Radiance. or I think
Are you talking about the one with the background or the one next to it?
the one with the background is from Cypher.
Obviously.
The one in the middle, I'm pretty sure is from
That's
Path of Radiance because he has a different arm sleeve.
Well, it's also Rain Dawn has softer artwork.
Well, he has a different in Rain and Dawn. He doesn't have an arm sleeve anymore. He just has a rolled up cuff instead. But I love when they do that with archers. They give them so you can see it makes it realistic that he would be a serious archer because he's got protection on his arm, but he's not wearing heavy armor.
He's also a mercenary, so it makes sense. He would have what he can afford.
Exactly, and that's what I think I love the most about Rain and Dawn Path of Radiance. Not to, derail. It's just the realisticness of the game. Not everyone can afford to be in heavy armor. Not everyone can afford to have 6 chest plates. Which I feel like we lose a lot.
Have hand-me-down capes.
Yeah, we lose in a lot of other games because even now I'm looking at stuff. I was like, I upgraded Virion, who's the single archer unit you get in Awakening, the only single one, which pains me because I love using archers.
Rely on archers anymore.
I just love using them, even when they're not good.
Class.
Yeah, even when he can use a bow as an assassin, which is lucky. But I was like, they put on more armor. I was like, I kind of lose the original character. You can even see in his marksman class, in his Wii sprite, you don't lose the original character. He moves the sash from his shoulders to his hips, so it's still there. He adds a shoulder plate, and that's pretty much it.
He gets a little shawl thing.
Yeah, I was like, I like how they keep it very true to character.
I might have to play Rain Dawn someday, even if it is a very long game.
It's a very long game.
But I agree. Shadon's one of those people that, sometimes you just like a character for being bad, and he's just, he's a jerk, but he does have his moments, and he's just very capable. And the thing is that, for all his jerkiness, he works perfectly in the dynamic of the Grell mercenaries, and the fact that, they point out, he hates Ike's guts so much. And a lot of other people, too.
Because he hates that he's like a goody two-shoes.
Well, he actually, it's more like the fact that he's like, well, you're the commander's son, so therefore you're going to get everything handed to you, and therefore you're going to be, even though Ike isn't in any way, he just has this perception of what he thinks Ike is, and he doesn't want to be wrong on that. So, it's like, you literally have to beat his face in order to get him to join you again, because he won't acknowledge anything less than that. But
he is a hard unit to recruit.
But, yeah. But,
he'll kill you.
And he has a brave bow.
It's not because he's far and the map's no, he'll just kill you first.
If you go and get to him first,
he also has, my favorite skill he has that I wish I could have in every is Provoke. Where he will, if he is somewhere, and there's
more likely to hit him.
Then there's a healer with 1 HP, they'll go for him first, even if the healer's next to the other enemy. Because of his skill Provoke, which means enemies are drawn to him.
He ticks off even the enemies.
So useful. I'm sitting here in Awakening like, oh man, I wish I just had Provoke so I could guarantee they're gonna hit this unit instead of this unit.
Yeah. And
useful skill, even if it's on an archery, they're weak and he's so fast. He's fast. You're not gonna hit him.
And I like the fact that he likes to be like, I'm about the money, but it's like, and Ike points out, and a few other characters say to more or less to the same effect, but he's like, yeah, for one reason or another, he likes our merry little band, and he doesn't leave. After the first, obviously, in the first game he does, but in the later on when he essentially comes to respect Ike a little bit more, at least respect his leadership, even if he doesn't like Ike as a person, he respects him as a strong leader. And then he's like, he won't leave because for better or for worse, he does enjoy the group he's with. They let him get away with a lot. He gets good pay, and he honestly does care about some of them.
And let's be real. Look at this color combo.
It's nice. It's vibrant without being vibrant.
Exactly. It's a very unique one in the Fire Emblem, where Fire Emblem's biggest fault is repetitive characters, repetitive color palette usage. So I think that's another thing that Tellius pulls every couple characters. I can't say it for all of them. You got Marcia, who's another pink-haired Pegasus Knight, but he's like, you're not gonna have another archer with this exact color hair. I don't think there's many characters with this exact color hair because it's not exactly red. It's like a red purple, and I think that's and then mixed with the very Tellius, the earthy colors. All of them wear very earthy colors, and I think that's a very good plus because it's a far cry from the white of the Royals, which you see in every other game.
His so much reminds me of Seth for some reason. I think it's because they have similar coats.
I was gonna say probably because of the angle in the face looks like it. Yeah, so that's why I was surprised to see that people didn't like him, but I'm not surprised to learn why, because he's a jerk.
I mean,
and I still love him. Look at his ponytail, he's so cool, and I will stand up for him. Next character. Pan. These are also in order of game, if that makes sense. In order of...
Okay.
Well, Awakening, Fates came
I probably guess it why.
So, this is about Pan, but also mostly about the toggle together. And people said it because they were like,
I will say her ears make no sense.
yeah, I don't get it why they're like braided in
Wouldn't
there.
that hurt?
Yeah, it's like that's not like. Either way, it says they don't like how she appears. That was my reason. They just appear without no story
Yeah.
reason. My reason also was they have to use beast stones to transform. Barf, I am a gauge girl till I
She's
die.
technically wearing no pants when you think about it.
She is not wearing any pants. Pee pee out to the wind.
That's kind of weird when you think about it.
Pee pee to the wind. The top one, I actually like that one better, is her in-game sprites. I'm not a big fan of her hero sprites, because I feel like you lose a lot of roughness of the original character. So then having her being so abrasive doesn't really fit
She's
the
like
new
the type of
face.
person that would be like, say with an entirely straight face, I love carrots.
Yeah,
But
like
completely
exactly.
straight
I feel like
deadpan.
her original art is the only one that really works to fit her character. I think her heroes art, I don't like it as much. And she's the typical hunt and beast unit who hates humans. Like, oh, you killed my clan, I hate you. Every time.
Every time.
Actually, most people didn't say anything about Pam, but they said about the Togwall because they hate Yarn. Can't say anything about Yarn. Don't know him yet.
He's complicated.
That's her kid, apparently. Don't know anything about him, so I can't say much. I'm saying it based off what they said of the Togwall and the things that could apply to her. And they said, for her at least, she starts this, or for, yes, for these are my complaints from my perspective, is starts, all the supports start the same. I hate you, don't talk to me, I hate you.
So like talking to an Orion.
They're blatant. Yeah, I was like, they're kind of just like, I hate you, don't talk to me. Because I can only say it because the ones I have the most supports with are Long Q and her have the most out of all supports of all my people. They probably have 5 completed up to the A and like 6 more C's, like almost fully completed. So I can tell you a lot of them start exactly the same. It reminds me a lot of the marriage units in Fates, where the marriage thing, like the S support and mostly all of the child supports, it's like you could put any other character there and it doesn't change.
I just can't believe I never realized she wasn't wearing pants.
Yeah, I realized it, but I just was like, I'm gonna ignore that.
Because you don't ever see her full body thing, so I just
So then go to his. Why do I like? She looks cool in that picture. Because she's low-key a slapping unit. I know you didn't use her in the game. I'm using her.
I would have used her more.
I think she's a great
Who doesn't want
unit.
to use a demon bunny?
Yeah, I actually don't use Noe or Naui, however you pronounce it.
I would use her over Downey, definitely.
Yeah, I don't use her because I like Pan more. I just think she's a cool unit. I know Noe's got better stats, but I like using Pan because I like her Sephora's. I think she's pretty. I think she's different because you can only have so many dragon, units, so many
Someone's
games
like,
in a row.
Let's have a bunny.
Yeah, so I like that. I was like, she looks cool. Look at her. She's got she's not wearing shoes.
Or pants.
Or pants. Here's the most artwork, because she's not a wildly popular character. The most art I can get for her is from her Cypher artwork. So you have her 3 Cypher works, then you have her heroes, and then on the far right you have her heroes sprite for in-game. The only picture I can get for her from her Awakening in-game is that one. Well, you can see the difference, the big difference in her face. So, her supports all start out bland. I can't agree. But they get better in the B and the A ranks.
Yeah.
Where it breaks off, because the trick is she's really good for other people to bounce off of.
True.
She, on her own, doesn't have a lot to say. She's not very interesting, doesn't grow a lot, but she brings out the best in other characters.
That's true.
Hers with Stall versus hers with Long Q versus hers with Rickon, they're all different. And it doesn't feel like the C support, I could switch them in and out easy. But their B and the air supports brings out a lot of the other characters. So you can see the smaller intricacies about Long Q that I haven't learned from his other sports. About Stall that I haven't learned from his other sports.
Mm-hmm.
About Rickon that I don't think I would have learned from someone else. And I think she's good at pulling out the traits of other people. It's very opposite of Naui, where I think all her sports are stupid, and I can't get through them because I think she's so childish and annoying.
It's kind of needlessly so.
I'm like, please chill. That's why I like Pan more, because she's more, chill.
Yeah.
She's an adult. However, I do think the lack of a story reason is really annoying. So I do agree.
There's no reason as to why she shows up.
I do agree with that criticism of her. I wish there was some reason where she came from, why she joined, and it was very Shadow Dragon.
Well, the thing is that, randomly dragons showing up makes sense because dragons are known to have long lifespans. It makes sense one could be sleeping and just come up and be like, oh, the rest of my kind's dead. How about that? In fact, Leanne kind of does that in Path of Radiance. It's
She's like, oh shoot, my brothers? What?
Considering the rabbits are known to have large populations,
Hmm.
and there's no mention of her nor her kind anywhere else in the game.
Like, she's so
Why?
cool. I wish we found her Denoi. Well, like they did with the Kitsune and the Wolfkin.
Before you had
It's
to
like-
kill all of them.
It's like you go in and you're like, oh, they're not the last of their kind. I make them the last of their kind by killing everyone else there. But it's like, it would make sense if maybe we did kill the rest of our people, or maybe we watched the rest of our people get killed by the bad guys, you
Or
know?
we saw more of them pop up somewhere
Yeah.
and they hated
It's
us.
That's what I said. The last two are my agreements of why people would dislike her character / the Togwell as a unit is just the whole last of my kind thing. I'm so tired. Give me their whole race, and then I pull one out of it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm so tired of this is the last of my because I can't learn anything about you.
Well,
I can
you
only
be,
get
but you needed,
I can
it's a
only get
starting
so
point.
attached to you without knowing your full story because I can't. You know? It's like if you were watching Harry Potter, but he's the only wizard. Hagrid tells him he's a wizard, and then Hagrid dies, so he never makes it to Hogwarts. So you go through this whole thing of Harry Potter doing the whole Harry Potter franchise by himself, no other wizards.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It's like you can only get so far before you hit a stopping point.
She needs someone to relate to.
Anyways, next person. Henry! I was trying to see this one, but also not in a way. The far right is a game image, but the PNG cutout was really bad on the site I got it from. So I also gave him his hero's attack
I
artwork.
definitely think his awakening is much better. I think he does much better without the gold.
Oh, the gold rings and stuff?
Well, the gold in general in his outfit. I think he's already he's such a bright, cheerful character. He needs maximum darkness in his outfit.
Interesting. I never noticed that until you mentioned it. Because in game
He
you
has
can
too much
you'll
gold
see,
in his outfit.
in game you can see he only has like just the waist up is visible.
He's so quotable.
So why don't they like similar to Perry? They don't like how he's all dark all the time. They don't like the dark jokes. They don't like his stats. Actually, I was really shocked to see that. They're like slow, and his stats don't improve. He can't hit twice a lot of times, and
I agree.
he's not. a
He's more
chunky man.
tanky mage than he is
Yeah.
fast mage.
Apparently he kills a village, but no spoilers. They were just like, I don't like how they
know
kill a
about
village. And I
that.
was like, okay, whatever. They said he's a one-note character because he's a dark magic guy who likes death and blood too much, was just a dark magic trope. And I said, shut your dumb face. That was him talking to Crom when you recruit him, and he comes in a storm of crows, which is very cool. That's
he knows how to make that entrance.
out of the people on that team, I use Long Q, which I see they have him as a swords master, Crom, and Pan. I don't use Frederick just because
Maribel.
I never got to. Maribel I use in and out if I need a healer. She is second class, but I just don't actually bring healers in a lot anymore. Like I don't use Lissa either
Can we
right
also
now.
say another thing? I don't like his heroes art at all, and that's maybe just me. I'm like, he looks like a kid, like a young mage in his awakening art. His other one looks like he's Asian or something. He just looks off.
Oh, I liked his hero artwork. I thought he looked really cute.
No, it's more like maybe it's because you haven't gotten him and done a lot with him yet. But I'm like, the other one looks like he's very cheerful. The other one looks like he's just I don't know. It's missing something. Heroes in general also, and the same thing can be said about his voice actor in Heroes. It's just slightly off in that kind of because there's a character that kind of is this on a razor's edge. It's like Hanoka for me, where it's like you just tip him in the wrong direction.
So Evie put in her reasons why she doesn't like him as a character.
No, why I
Next,
don't like Heroes.
Look how cool he looks in this. He's got his eyes open. So why does he like?
This
Because
looks
he's
fine.
funny. He's a funny guy. He's fun. He likes his little jokes. Also, dark mages are inherently cooler than regular mages because you can only have so many dark mages each game. They give you like one. Luckily in this game I already have two, so I'm good for the goal. Noel was a dark mage, so I'm already good for going on dark mages. Regular mages are pretty lame most of the time. And he's just my little guy. So don't bully him.
I'm not. I'm
Stop
saying I don't
bullying
like
my-
his heroes.
That's what I said. Don't bully my heroes, man. Don't bully him.
Because his
Look how
awakening
cute he
is
looks.
better.
Shh, look how cute he looks. He looks so good. He's got his little bird. He looks great. I love that for him. Ta-da.
Do have him as a vampire though. He looks
Here,
way better in that.
These are his other, similar to Pan, he's not like overwhelmingly popular, so he doesn't have a ton of work for him. So these are his Halloween heroes outfits, and then a Fire Emblem cipher card of him. So that's fun. A reason why he's cool, he appears with a bunch of birds. He's very cool.
Mhm.
Very good for him. His, every character in Awakening kind of has their trope. So I think I actually like him more than like Noe or Muriel or Kellum. I know you love Muriel. I actually am gonna be real. She's lukewarm for me.
I just said I thought that she was an interesting way she did. I'm like,
Well, I feel like you
she
relate to
registers
her
it.
more because you're more wordy and intellectual and stuff. And I just, it's just,
I like her. I like the concept of her as a character. I wouldn't rank her in my top 10 mages of all time. I just thought that she was in. I like her more than I like Lute.
I think her, just the over smart mage trope is overdone. So if I had to choose between tropes of the game, I would choose probably Henry's over hers.
Well, it's like I definitely would like someone like Soren who's smart but also has way more backstory.
Someone who's smart, but that's not their personality. Her personality is just being smart, and sometimes I find it dry because I get bogged down in all her language. I understand what she's saying because I'm a science person, but I
like Henry way more than I like her.
Yeah, it's like I like Henry because I think he's fun. So when people were in there, like, they were being like, "Oh, Henry sucks, but Muriel's the best," I was like, "All right, shut your dumb face.
I wouldn't say so. Your
face is dumb. Shut it up." And you gotta support him with the right. It's the same thing everyone. In order to pull the best personality, like putting him and Tharja together, you're not gonna get a lot of character from either of them. They're both dark mages who are both obsessed with dark things. You gotta put him with Olivia, who pulls out the light side. You gotta put him with, Crom, who pulls out something different. Put him with you. You gotta choose different people with different personalities. Otherwise, you're not. If you choose the same people with similar personalities, you're gonna get the same supports over and over again.
I would relate him to Joshua in the fact that because he is kind of he has this very strong lean in a certain direction, that he kind of enters every situation the same, but hits it very differently to the point where you kind of want to throw him at different characters and be like, okay, how do you do with the death guy?
And I like that he always has birds. He got birds. He got birds. And then he's better than any Shadow Dragon character, and you can fight me on that. I'll meet you outside. Alright, moving on, because I have a lot of characters. I am tired. Tharja.
Interesting.
I was surprised to see this new because I thought everyone loved her, but similar to Camilla, I was surprised to see that there was a surprising amount of people who really did not like her. Really were just against her.
I have less, admittedly,
I like Tharja.
Well, it's not like I don't like her. It's more like I have less strong reasons for her than I do for Camilla. Some of her.
There's two in-game sprites, and then those are from base, and then you can see the one on the top right is from Heroes. That is her Plegian outfit, where they said boobs aplenty, man. Boobs aplenty.
She actually started the gloomy dark type stereotype. Because all the other ones were strictly villains before this.
Because you also get her before Henry, so she is your first dark mage. But you can see her boobs are not out. You can't see them at all, actually. Literally at all. There's no way you can see them. Because they, have little books there. They said she's too obsessed with Robin. Similar to Camilla and Corrin. She's a flat character. Again. Doesn't break out of the gloomy dark mage stereotypes. Everyone wants that redemption moment. Boobs. Boobs again, I guess. And I thought people liked her, but I guess not.
I thought she was
the bottom. I don't know where the bottom right is from. I'm assuming it's like a support.
That's from the beach one where they're all in swimsuits and they had to censor it because she was showing her butt.
Love that for her. The reason I was standing up for her, I thought she was a good unit, man. She's like a solid 7 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, she's good.
I used her. I actually replaced both my regular mages in my team with the dark mages just because I like dark mages. I thought she was fine, like, in her here. So, the bottom is her Warriors DLC sprite. The top is her Hero sprite. And the middle is, again, some Heroes artwork. But even then, like, especially in her Warrior sprite, her boobs are smaller than Lynn's.
Which is weird.
So it's like she's not, I actually don't think she's excessively booby. In the last one, she was. Like, in this one, she's not really. And I didn't do, the reason why they're all like, she's so obsessed with Robin. Well, I just didn't do that support. I know that that's one of the flaws of her character, so I just avoided it. Just like I didn't do Cordelia and Sumire. I'm never going to support with Crom, because I like their characters when they're not bogged down by their one vice, which is their obsession with one character.
Well, the thing that I think about her that bothers me about her thing with Robin is the thing that bothers you with Pan. There's no reason for it. And this is the reason I can defend Camilla the more I can defend Tharja, because Camilla has a reason because it's her sister. Tharja, I went and looked, because I love her supports. I actually find her really interesting. I told you one of my favorite was her with Virion. But I looked through all her supports looking for why is she so obsessed with Robin. I figured there was some reason, but no matter how many supports I did, I could never find the reason, and that frustrated me because I'm like, so this is a core part of your character, but there's never a reason why. And it didn't need to be super big. It could just be the fact I sense dark energies around you and now I'm obsessed with you. Or I had a vision of you and therefore I'm... Literally, that's what Mia does. She goes after Rise because she knows she's going to have a white-clad rival, and so she goes to the staff wielder of all things. It doesn't have to be deep. That's the only thing, honestly, I have an issue with Tharja about her, because I like her as a mage. She actually does pretty well in her own game. It's just, I was always waiting for that last piece to fall in place.
Anyways, Anyways, moving on, I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm tired, baby. We can rant about this some other time, but it's me time.
I
Time
do
to
like
release
her
thoughts
Warriors
out of the
outfit,
spring.
though. She looks good in that.
So I said, her other sports are good. I didn't do her one with Robin, but I like her one with like Libra is really good. I like her one with On Q. I'm getting her one with Virion right now. I like her sports. She's not obsessive. She hasn't mentioned Robin at all yet, which is cool. And then my like sub thing is that it's the same with Cordelia and Sumia. They don't actually. I've only had Cordelia say she should report something to Crom. What she said, or in her support to Gaia, she said you have to look good so it doesn't look bad on Crom because he's our leader. So it's like I like that even though their major character flaw is this obsession, you can easily skirt around the edges and they're a good character outside of it. And honestly, not a lot of boobs. She really should just put on some pants.
Yeah.
That's it on her. Next character. Sharpay Evans from High School Musical 1, 2, and 3.
I was debating on doing a like movies or like TV shows, but I couldn't think of any at all.
Yeah.
I
So
couldn't think
this
of
one
anything.
is the one that I feel most strongly about. If you couldn't tell.
Have you seen the High School Musical film theory?
Nope, and I'm not going to because I don't care that much. Sharpay Evans, my queen.
she's the
Why don't
protagonist.
people like her? Because they think she's the antagonist. She's a prissy drama queen. She wants Troy to herself. She wants to be the star at any cost, and she's the obvious villain of the high school.
This is
Come
literally what
on.
that theory you talked about.
She's wearing pink. She's walking around. Look at her. Prissy Miss Perfect. But why? Like, she was robbed. She worked hard for that stardom,
Are
and
you
she was
sure you didn't watch
robbed.
that theory? Because this is literally what that theory
Yes,
talked about.
this is just all from
Was
my
that Sharpay
brain.
was the true protagonist and she
She
got
was.
robbed.
Oh my god, let me tell you, all my friends were theater people, and Gabriella is the worst. She's so like literally Sharpay worked so hard. She was in theater. She trained. She was just a theater nerd who was just also
Theater
happened to be
people are all
cool.
very intense.
Yeah, she was just a weird theater kid. She didn't need to be bullied, but Gabriella came in and was like, I'm different. I'm from a different school, and I'm so shy. Oh, I like science, but I'm shy.
Why are you going after the jock guy anyway? Not worth your
Anyways,
time.
I hate Gabriella. I think she's the worst character in all of
Did you
High
make
School
this
Musical.
picture?
Yes, I made this picture. I blacked out Gabriella's face because I hate her. I'm not gonna. I also don't like Vanessa Hudgens, mostly because of her role in High School
I
Musical.
know.
But I haven't seen anything else to convince me to like her so far.
Thunderbirds?
Nope, that was a bad rendition.
Well, that's what
She
I'm saying.
ruined
That's another
Tintin.
thing. That's another thing
She was terrible in Thunderbirds. Hated that. I also don't think she can sing, and I don't think she can act. I think she's a terrible person.
Poison.
And she still gets everything in the movie. They're like, here you go. Here's the main role. Girl, you can't act. You can't act in a movie, much less act about acting in a movie. Makes me- She includes her brother in everything, and that's very important to me. That siblings are included. Look at her.
Except for the one time.
She's a theater person. She's not gonna be like, here, you can have the spotlight. No, the spotlight's still. She's gonna have the spotlight be hers.
No, that's what I'm saying. The one time she actually didn't get it was because she excluded her brother.
Yeah, so it's like she's always like with her brother, and I appreciate that. Her brother's very gay, and I'm
Oh,
glad
yeah.
that she supports that. Her outfits are always banging. Every scene, slap on slap.
Scene change when you enter the room.
She's got the prime 2000s like clothing. Look at that bottom right. That chunky neck piece. Godlike. She's literally, when you look at it, she's literally just an average theater person.
Really?
Obviously, people who don't like Sharpay have never met a theater person in their life.
All theater
Or
people.
they're just too stuck up. A lot of my friends, I did theater in high school. I
That
was
guy
never
always
good
used
at
to
it.
Walk around with
but-
an umbrella.
What?
Remember that one guy who always used to have a hat like Ryan and walk around with an umbrella in the theater?
No, but I believe you.
Yeah.
My friends in college, one of them was a theater major, and we actually when we took TV production together, we won Best Actor and Best Actress and Best Couple. He's very gay as well, so the fact that we could really pull that off, I think that's great.
I think it's impressive.
I am a bad actress though, so
No, you're just funny.
I was just funny on camera, so that's why they liked me. She also worked hard, and when she was cool enough to be friends with the N, I don't know why I put N name because I was also listening to music. She was able to be friends with them at the very end of all the movies, so it just shows that she really did have a lot of character growth, even though they literally stole everything from her. Her whole career.
She got her own
She
movie.
wanted to go to Juilliard. You know, she had a career, and then they're like, actually, no, Gabriella's gonna be the lead. I was like, girl, she's trying to get into college. Miss Science farts. You don't need to be in the High School Musical. Get your own. Anyways,
Did the piano girl get in? Wasn't it her and Ryan got in?
I don't know. I don't care.
Okay.
I only care about Sharpay. And she is a dog. So I like to shout out to her dog. Sharpay is the queen. And I will forever think she's been robbed. Thank you. Next slide. Omo Chow from Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
I'm not sure
and
you're being
Sonic
serious
Heroes.
about this one or not.
I am. Look,
Is it because you like to throw him?
I put 2 pictures. That's your opinion. So, why do we like him? Duh. Because he's annoying. He won't leave you alone. He's a stupid tutorial guy, and his voice is annoying and bad. Here's images of Omo Chow talking because it puts that blue line over the screen so you can't see what you're doing because Omo Chow's in the way. Why do I like them? Because you can destroy him infinite times. Very fun. Looks
So
like a
only
regular
in Sonic
Chow,
Adventure
but you
2.
can kick him. There's nostalgia because it reminds you of the game you played when you were a kid. He's easy to throw, and he's satisfying to break.
This is why I didn't like that they brought him back in like Generations and everything after that, because you couldn't pick him up anymore. He was just a voice.
What's the point if the only point... This is like before when I only like corn in one game.
Stealing a
The
gun.
only time... Yes. When you abuse Omo Chow too much, he gets a gun.
What part of the internet are you in?
It's him when he starts in the Chow races and go
Yeah,
like
he-
this and they... I just googled Omo Chow. I was just trying to get a PNG to put on the first
You
page
found him
and
with a
that
gun.
comes up. And then the one where he says help because Sonic's gonna throw him.
He's a vaporized weapon. I'll give
I
you that much.
gotta put a couple of those in there.
Okay.
Yes, Omo Chow is only good in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, where you are able to destroy him. Otherwise, he sucks and I hate him. But when you're able to destroy him, he's very fun. So that's why I like Omo Chow.
Okay.
It's characters we like, everyone else hates.
I don't know if that counts as liking so much as you like watching destruction.
I like him being there. Yeah.
That's the one in the bottom corner is the one from Generations where you can't do anything with him. He just can drone in your ear.
Useless. Shadow the Hedgehog. Only in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Sonic X, and Sonic Heroes. Nothing before or after.
Actually, he's good up until Sonic 06.
Sorry, but only the games I have listed.
He has such a great story in Sonic 06.
I don't know enough about 06 to remember, so that's why I didn't put him in
again.
here. Look at that freaking the Eggman. Spooky, dog. It's also
Wait,
the
he
weird the juxtaposition of the super cartoonish hedgehog next to this hyper realistic ugly man.
I will admit that's weird, but he has such a great team thing with Team Dark because they're like, everyone's
Anyways,
gonna portray
why
me.
didn't people like him? Because he's angsty. He's a one-note bad character.
What
He's
list were
Sonic,
you
but
looking
he's
at?
emo. My brain. He's
You're trying
he
to be
doesn't
emo right
even
now.
run for real. He skates. He's evil. He's a bad guy, and he has a gun.
Did a 7-year-old write this list?
No, I wrote it. I actually wrote all the characters and I went from the bottom up, so I worked backwards. So this is at the beginning.
I don't think that makes it any better.
He has a gun.
Are you okay, Mel?
That's funny. Anyways, here's some images of him. I think the bottom is
So
him
we're
in
gonna- we're
06.
We're talking about this as the second most popular character in the Sonic fan base.
But why do people not like him?
I don't know.
Why do I like? Because he does run cool. He's nice to chows. And he has sick jewelry.
I really think you're spoofing me right now.
The middle is too serious, so I had to go. This is where I started. In the middle, you can tell I was near the end. I did the first two. I did the Dangan Ronpa characters.
You start with
where I did
Byakuya.
Byakuya.
Okay, I get what you're saying. You got your joke about him being hot, but you're right. He is hot. And here, you're just like sick jewelry. I'm like, Malin, are you okay?
I did these first, and I did the Dangan Ronpa ones first, and the ones.
What
the
were
other
you-
ones I did in
what
the
were you
middle.
on when you were doing this?
Nothing. I hadn't eaten all day, so I was exhausted. But look,
So-
he's got a nice chow. There is a lot of sexual tension in that image, and I'm not here for it. But I do like the
What?
chow.
What
Anyways,
are you
so
looking
here's
at?
the 3D one. Well, I was looking. I added the sick jewelry because his containment rings look really cool in 3D.
They are. They're very cool. He has an awesome
I
design.
don't know how he gets that over his wrists.
It expands when he pulls it.
Okay, so he's
They literally are power rings, so they're the glowy yellow things that people use in order to boost attacks. They
Anyways,
literally
so
turn it
why do I like him? He's not emo. He's just
You even have a
traumatized.
thing for Sonic 06's storyline. Why didn't you list that? You have 3 screenshots
I
of
didn't
it.
know that was from Sonic 06. I didn't
You
know
know
Omega
was-
was in that game.
Yeah. I just said it was the best Team Dark storyline.
Anyways, whatever. He's just traumatized. You can see right there in the middle, that's Maria. That's his friend that gets shot in front of him. So that's really sad. And then he makes friends with Robot and Thief Bat, which means he's got to be good at summon hair level because he has friends.
Thief Bat.
I'm presenting Evie. In Sonic Adventure. In Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, he's got an ASMR angsty teen voice.
I always thought that was his later videos. He sounds actually like a normal person in Sonic Adventure 2. He sounds more angsty after that.
He's so quiet and gentle. That's why
sounds like
that's my favorite voice for him because he sounds so unsure of himself.
Yeah.
I love that. It's very like
angsty teen would be his next phase.
You have to listen him. He also can use Chaos Control! That's my favorite part. He uses Chaos Control, so he's pretty cool. He has the best level design in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, for sure. And his shoes are cool because they're cooler than Sonic's because he skates.
I think it's cool.
So he's already cooler than Sonic because he doesn't have to run. And we don't talk
does
about the
still
whole
have to have
we
the
don't talk
stamina
about the
to
whole
run.
gun and car thing. We should ignore that.
If he wants a motorcycle, I don't have an issue with that.
But the gun thing's a little too far.
Well, the gun thing is way too far. But
the bottom.
I can literally create a giant blast out of pure energy. I need a gun.
So the bottom middle is him using Chaos Control in Sonic Heroes. You can see he's paired up with Rouge and Omega.
Gotta play that one.
I've returned. Welcome back. You welcome for a good time. We're talking about Shadow has a gun. The top left is Shadow and Rouge and Omega. His Thief Bat and Robot.
Everyone does actually like Shadow. She was just in some sort of weird dream state when she read this.
I was thinking about the ones that people don't like Shadow.
Oh, far from unpopular. He's the second most popular character in the fandom, and they made fun of that in Sonic Boom.
He, because I don't like him later on. I'm only talking about him up to, I don't know him well enough in 06 to make a claim for him. That's why I only claim up until 06, because that's all I know.
Everything after that kind of fell apart.
That's all I can say, is I like him up in there. Everything, he still appears after that in many games. So to say, I don't claim that after him. I only claim the part, same thing with Byakuya, I only claim the part I know, and that's it. And I only claim him, I like him in these roles. If he's unpopular because of the games afterwards, not my problem.
It's actually a bad time to be a Shadow fan, because after 06 they just decided not to do serious storytelling, so now he's just, as people say, a Vegeta clone, where he's just angry and a jerk all the time. So, yeah,
exactly. Well, I'll show you.
Most people who are Sonic
The games I'm talking from is Adventure 2 Battle, Sonic X, and Sonic Heroes, so I got you, dog.
Most people who are Shadow fans actually don't like him anymore because he has lost all the characterization that people loved.
The games, I'm only talking 06, maybe. I'd have to replay it. I'm only talking Sonic Heroes and earlier are the only times where I can really stand up for him and be like, okay, he's got this story, he looks cool, he's got friends. That's where I can back him up there. That's where I can go for him.
That's what the thing with Team Dark in the top.
Looks weird.
That's the last time Team Dark was officially canon.
The fandom wiki.
Which is kind of sad.
And he can also go Super Saiyan, so he's pretty cool. I might be thinking Sonic. You might be thinking of either if he is in the team of 3, that's Sonic Heroes. If he is
by himself,
Sonic
Adventure.
And you play separate. You play as him, then you play as Rouge, then you play as Eggman. That's Adventure.
Really,
if you play as him, Rouge, and Robot, which is Gamma or Omega, you're playing a different game. Gamma turns into Omega, so it's really just Omega. Anyways, next character. Rouge the Bat. I was surprised to see this one too.
Honestly, I'm not. She's very decisive.
I love her, and I am talking about her as well. Only until Sonic Heroes, Sonic 06 can be argued for, but I can only really stand my ground up to Sonic Heroes. Even though in Sonic Heroes, I think her costume's super ugly and I hate it.
She only appears in Sonic 06 until Sonic Forces.
So why do
Generations? I forgot Generations.
Why do I not like her? Back to the boob issue.
Yep.
I thought the internet would have anything with boobies, but they don't. Apparently, people don't like that she has boobs.
She was the first, literally was the first character to have them. She was the first mature character, actually, in all of Sonic history.
Exactly. People were like, we don't like that she's mature, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, so you want to run around with Amy forever? You want Amy to be the only strong girl protagonist you have?
She's 14, she's 18, she should have boobs.
Yeah. She's also a thief, so bad? Question mark? Love interest to Knuckles, mean, bossy, and deceptive, they said. That's a quote. Direct quote. I can agree in the bottom center, I think that's her hero's outfit. I think it's super ugly, and I think she should have blue eyeshadow on her eyes. Pink does not look good, and I don't like how carved out her boobs are.
I'm okay with it just because it's her. Like, I don't like it, but I'm okay with they experimenting because that was her second appearance, so they could experiment before she had set look, and then they're like, "Yep, that didn't work," and go right back to her original outfit.
I know, a little of Sonic after Sonic Heroes, but that's okay because that's where I'm stopping. Although the games after that I kind of gave up on.
It's really
The
only
top
06.
left full picture is her in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle in Space in her boss fight against Knuckles. The top right is her, I'm assuming, Sonic Heroes with Shadow. And then the bottom right is her talking to Knuckles in
Sonic
Generations. Next thing, why do I like her? Because her wings are really cool. She's a bat, and I think that's cool. She's an independent, strong bat. They don't need no man. No Knuckles, no Shadows. She's strong on her own, baby. And she's the best female Sonic character design. Fight me on that.
I wouldn't.
Roll up, baby. Look at her.
It's
she's
simple
cool.
but powerful.
Yeah, she's cooler than ever. She's a bat. She can also kick you in the face. And she's got boobs. What more can you ask for in character design?
I'm in the middle on Sonic X, her portrayal, because sometimes she was great and sometimes she was just way too sex-leaning.
Boobies.
Well, it was more like she was needlessly difficult to people. And that's not how she is.
Yeah, so she's not an interest to Knuckles because that's lame. I like her because she's
on that, but I'll let you go through your
not
things first.
Well, she's not. Her sole purpose is not to be the love interest to Knuckles. If it happens, that's up to them. I don't have control. But she's not. Her purpose in her game where she's introduced.
She's supposed to be a rival in Knuckles.
The purpose in her game where she's introduced is not to be a love interest. It's to be, as you said, it's to be. Everyone has to have their mirror. You got the Eggman and Tails. You've got Rouge and Knuckles, and you've got Sonic and Shadow. She's not a goody two-shoes like the Team Sonic characters, because duh, she's a thief, so if she's mean, deceptive, and whatever, duh, it's because she's evil. Yeah, I know, because I can tell by the graphics. Duh, she's not going to be good. She's one of Shadow's literal 3 friends, so I think that's an achievement.
Yep.
The fact that she's able to get that, so I'm good with that. And she isn't a weak female character that relies on the token male leader of the team, such as Amy. A lot of times can rely too much on Sonic.
She's the leader of Team Dark in Heroes, because she's the one that makes the team in the first place.
So
She's keeping the other two in line.
I like that she's not like the rest of the Sonic characters. Generally, you get a lot of like the good team, the Team Sonic, Team Hero, whatever. A lot of times they do stuff, but you even see in Sonic Forces, they're powerless without Sonic. Without Sonic, they're nothing.
Like, really? Do you know how strong they have freaking Silver with them, for crying out loud. Shadow wasn't out of commission either. He just is mysteriously not there for a while.
So it's like, I think I liked her a lot because I can look past boobs. So that's probably because I'm a girl.
It's not even that bad. We literally deal with Fire Emblem all the time.
Yeah, so it's like I thought she was fine. I like that she wasn't. Her purpose wasn't to be, hi, I'm the girl who's gonna be the distraction to all the boys. It's I'm gonna be me, and whatever happens.
That's the only reason actually that I don't like Sonic X, is that they did in some of the seasons make her into that where I'm just distracting the guys all the time. That's the reason I am in the middle on her Sonic X performance, because when she's with any of the other guys that she respects, she's better. But if she's on her own, there were way too many times where she's like, I'm gonna use my feminine wiles in order to go and deal with someone, or I'm just on top of the world, and I'm just like, no, I like her better in the game because she's an agent too, which means that she has more experience. She might like to play that card, but it was never her first card to play. Mm-hmm. She knew how to deal with things, not just, well, I bat my eyes at you, and that doesn't work, I don't know what to do next, which is what she did in Sonic X sometimes.
Yeah. They said they don't like her eyeshadow. I think that's up to, I guess.
It's a personal opinion.
Yeah, personal opinion. I always thought, actually, that was her eyelids. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Sonic characters do have very large eyes.
I really thought those were just her eyelids until people were like, I don't like how she's wearing so much makeup. I was like, oh. I really just thought those were her eyelids. But they said they were eyeshadow. I was like, alright, that's dope. But same, like, I never noticed, actually, in her game, in Adventure 2, I would notice when she stops at the end of her level, her ear physics more than her boob physics. Even though the boob physics are there and they do match the ear physics. Her ears, when they stop, they go like this. And you notice that way more, and you notice her boobs going boink boink, and then they're
never
done.
Was a big deal about her thing.
Mm-hmm. And there's her doing her drill spin.
Her drill kick, tornado kick. I just want to say, my one thing I have to say about her with Knuckles is that the reason, because I, of course, my first fandom I ever got into, actually, in terms of when I learned what shipping was Pokemon, immediately followed by Sonic. So I first...
That's rough. That's a double hitter.
I know, exactly.
That's rough, and then it's also rough.
Yeah. No, it was actually the
That's
reason...
hard.
Yeah, it's actually the reason I got a fanfiction account was originally to look at Sonic fanfiction, because I wanted to follow stuff.
Oh, girl, you gotta... That's something you don't need to admit to the internet. That's something you keep to yourself.
Well, no, the thing is that I remember, because essentially, so it means I looked at it when I, my younger years, I looked at her a lot in terms of being a ship character. And there's ultimately came down to the way in which she was written. The reason I will never ship her with Knuckles is not because they don't have chemistry. It's because I think Knuckles genuinely deserves someone better. Because he's a very sweet-hearted guy. And honestly, I see her working better with someone like Shadow just because they're both of the darker element of they're not afraid to go and rip each other. They're not afraid to go and tear into each other. I just read a comic with them, which is literally him almost dying because he likes living on the edge like that. And instead of going and being like, oh, you're alive, she's like, I'm going to kill you now myself because don't you dare do that. That's the 3rd time this week. But I don't think she could do that to Knuckles because he's a more soft-hearted character. Maybe this is because I also saw him like have way better chemistry with Shade the Echidna and Dark Brotherhood. I'm like, I feel that Knuckles needs someone better in terms of like, if we were going to talk about a love interest.
I just felt like it never felt like a series. It always felt like Niles. It felt like he jokes like around with everyone because that's just what he does.
That's why I could never see them as an actual romantic couple. I can see them as rivals, and I can see them as great friends. But I can never see them as a romantic thing because I just don't think... I think Knuckles needs someone who's more supportive than Rouge honestly could be in order to be a couple. So that's the only reason I would never ship them. I can definitely see them... I love seeing them go at each other, though. But that was the other thing that bothered me in Sonic X, is like they leaned into that more, and I'm kind of like, no, they are rivals. In the same way that Sonic and Shadow are rivals. You know? We're not gonna...
Yeah.
You know?
And now, for my last entry, which I'm sure we know who it is. Big the Cat! Haha, psych! His story sucked, and fishing minigames are always the worst.
He's tolerable in Sonic Heroes, though, because he has other people that are distracting from him.
But this is the worst, because I only listed him in Sonic Adventure. I mean, in Heroes, but...
Oh, yeah.
He also sucks.
Mechanics broken.
Anyways, that was not my last entry, I just want to figure out. Cream the Rabbit!
That's one I'm not surprised by.
Let's go through her reasons. Because she's annoying, her voice is bad, she's very useless, she has no noticeable character traits, sorry I was behind, or noticeable character I just guessed, and she's also lame. She's just not cool, and she doesn't do anything cool, and she's very lame.
You want to say lame another time?
Why do we like her? Because she has a chow named Cheese, and that's it.
She actually has some better things in the comics. I will admit, her voice is very hard to deal with, but I will take that over Amy's current voice.
Because I think I named her in Sonic Heroes and Sonic X. She only did that.
Her voice is high, but it also makes sense because she's like 6. Some of the other female characters having super high voices feels super weird. And
all the characters I like are the ones other people don't like.
Well, no, we're not saying we don't. We're not saying we don't like.
This is
Cream.
characters I like.
But Cream, I like Cream. First of all,
I do like Cream, by the way. I do like her in Sonic Heroes. I think she's very fun. I think she's cute, and I like her relationship with Cheeks.
I'm gonna relate her to our other bunny character, Pan, for a moment. Because she's so simplistic, and because she's very pure, it's like she does best balancing other characters that are very different from her. She actually has some really interesting comic interactions. She has this whole friendship she builds with Blaze, who Blaze just doesn't know what to do with her because she's not used to friendly characters. She actually has a really strong moment with Amy. She has this whole arc with one of the Gizzoids, who's a robot, essentially, who she teaches how to feel, and then ultimately has to destroy in the end when he remembers his destructive programming. That was a tearjerker. She has this interesting relationship with Sonic and Shadow in terms of, essentially seeing Shadow as the darker Sonic, but thinks they're super cool like superheroes, which both of them are willing to play into, which is just funnier to see from Shadow, because he's like, yeah, don't tell anyone I was nice to you. But yeah, we can go do a tea party, just don't tell anyone else I was there.
But there's a child named Cheese.
But, she's, I think, a good person to bounce characters off of. She also, by the way, in the Sonic RPGs, Sonic Dark Brotherhood, she is the most OP support character ever. All her abilities are so incredibly broken and amazing, and literally, if you have her, you'll never need another support character. So, I will say, though, definitely the high point is the Chow.
Chow named Cheese!
Cheese is literally keeping the Chow alive so they don't forget that we love these little creatures.
Yeah, you can have your opinion. My opinion is purely Chow named Cheese.
That's fair.
That's my whole
You
opinion.
know, it's all you need a lover for. Oh, yep.
Sonic the Hedgehog 006
Just 1-0.
006 like 007.
Dude, Sonic the Dark Brotherhood is so underrated. I'm going to talk about that in a later stream.
I've played it. It's a very good game.
It's a great game. Best story.
Anyways, not to get distracted. Not to get distracted because
He started it.
it is 11:20. Silver the Hedgehog.
Who was also on my list.
Why no like? Because he's a weak character. They said story relevance not strong enough for a mainline Hedgehog protagonist. Boss fights suck and doesn't contribute enough to the universe. Why do I like him? Stop bullying him. He's trying his best.
Agreed.
Because he survived as a character, even though his intro was a complete dumpster fire.
Agreed.
And he's got cool bracelets.
Agreed.
And he looks like he would be friends with Chows.
Oh, definitely.
They would bond. They'd be pretty cool with each other.
He had multiple chows. He was just running the garden.
He's also psychic, so that's pretty cool.
Best ability.
He's not another strong imposing personality like Sonic, and I appreciate that. He's not an overly uplifting person, but not an overly downer. He's just like, he's got his weaknesses, but he's also got his strengths, you know? He's not like, I'm always good to go, always, all the time. Or Tails like, I'm always nervous all the time. Or Amy's like, I'm always trying to get in your pants, you know, you're not wearing any all the time.
That's the same reason I gave for him, is that I'm like, he's not as...
He doesn't feel as one note,
and like,
which is surprising considering the game he came from.
yeah, he feels like he has vulnerability in a way that doesn't feel like, oh, this is just a temporary phase.
He also looks best in fan artwork where his front spines are bigger and his back spines are smaller.
You gotta get him right from the right angle. I think that could be 7 the Hedgehogs, honestly.
He's friends with the purple cat, and it's not Big the cat, so it's already 3 points. He can go Super Saiyan, big plus, and his shoes are sick.
I like that he has boots because it's different than the other two that have sneakers because he's not a running character. He's used to levitating himself. So it makes sense that he can have nice footwear.
And that is the end of my guy. So while you say your closing thoughts, I'm going to go back up and we're going to continue looking at Byakuya. Alright, Evie, any thoughts?
I think that it's interesting we had a lot of crossover in some places. I think that this was very informative. I know so much more, and I think I should have, for my own list, I should have gone and... I think I should have gone and looked up more into the reasons and why certain characters were disliked. Because, like, I like that you did research. Mine was literally, okay, who have I been pseudo-bullied about for liking in these fandoms? So it's like, I like the fact that you went in and looked at some of them, except for the one with Shadow. I definitely think you were on something with that one.
Oh, here, Spa, I'll go back for a second so you can see my Shadow posts, because I don't think you got to see those. I feel like they're probably worth it. I'll run through them back one more time for you. Pretty good. So the reasons why he's not liked is because he's angsty, he's one note, he's bad, he's Sonic, but he's also emo Sonic. He doesn't even really run, he just skates because he's dumb. And he's evil, and he's a bad guy. And he also, at some point, had a gun.
I only think this is funny. They're like, we're not including Sonic 06. Let me start with the first slide with 2 screenshots from Sonic 06. I'm like, you sure you don't know this game?
Yeah, I don't know it enough. I need to know it back and from. So, why did I like him? That's fair. He doesn't have a gun in his original one, but at some point I know he has a gun, so the knowledge haunts me forever.
You know what the ironic thing about that game is? That even though that's a game...
This is not my... Unlike a lot of them, these are not my opinions. These are actually ones I did pull from Reddit threads, which I thought was interesting.
You did good stuff. I thought it was cool. But the ironic thing about it is that even though Shadow the Hedgehog did, like, put off a lot of people as the games, it was actually the first jump forward in their animation, because the cutscenes in that game are really good. They're really smooth and so expressive, which really helps with Shadow.
Yes, the earlier games, I agree, are super better.
Everything literally...
What they really need to do is remaster them and re-release them, and you got a banger.
Everything before 06 is literally a great appearance for Shadow.
So, why do I like him? Because he does run different, and it's cooler.
Well, it's like they gave Sonic a speed rival, but it wasn't just Metal Sonic, who, you know, literally runs the same way that Sonic does. I like that they gave him a different way of running that isn't running. It still requires an intense amount of stamina, but I'm like, I like it's a little
I also like that he has a Chow son,
He does.
Very cute.
He also has a shadow.
He also has some. He's iced out.
6 jewelry, really.
6 jewelry, dog. He also is not really emo. He's just having a hard time and needs to go to therapy. He's
So much
got
therapy.
friends, which is cooler than Sonic, because Sonic only
Thief
has
Bat,
slaves.
which sounds
for
like
friends.
a class title.
He also, in his original game, has such a quiet voice that really helps you learn his character faster, because you're like, okay, he's not really evil, because he couldn't be this, sounds like he's gonna cry at any second. He also can use chaos control, but he has to say it in that way, which is my favorite part. He never, like, yells it. He only, like, whisper yells it. He's like, chaos control. You're like,
Well, we're gonna go through this
It's
because
like-
we're
it's
working through a playthrough of Sonic Adventure 2. We haven't done the dark story yet.
yeah, it's like he's whispering like he's afraid to be too loud. Also, his shoes are cooler than Sonic's because he skate runs, and that's cool.
But I will say I only give it that one the pass to the earliest ones in Sonic Adventure 2 where they look like hovers. And the other ones that are just straight up rockets just don't work very well in the animation.
Those are stupid. No, when he
Those ones
hover
the bottom
skates.
corner though. Hover skates.
What about Sonic 06? Is he hover skating that?
Huh? No, but Sonic 06, everyone had broken running animation, so I'm not exactly calling them out there. I'm calling them out in the later games.
I don't remember. That's why I said I didn't put Sonic 06 explanations there. Then there's these. Haha. Psych. I thought he got you guys, didn't I? Y'all thought I liked Big
Also,
the
another
Cat.
point of Dark Brotherhood, they made Big somehow useful in that game.
Good for them.
That isn't an accomplishment. I don't know what is. They literally had like
Alright.
all the major Sonic characters. I think this has been very.
Closing statements.
I think this has been very informative. You
We
definitely,
all simp for this man.
you definitely put a lot more effort into this than I did. I kind of just was.
This
like,
is what future PowerPoint nights will be like. I put in way too much effort and get tired, and then we talk for 4 hours.
No, I literally was just going like, who are all the characters that I know that no one else seems to know about? Let me write about them. So I definitely think we need to do more of these things. I think that we need to really knock up our copyright count and do like a top 10 vocal tracks from Sonic, just because we need more copyright strikes.
Well, we don't have to play them. We just talk about them. We don't have time to play all of them. Girl, I'm not trying to be here for 60 hours every night.
Well, it's
like
it'd
my
be
muscles.
10 apiece, but I just been listening to that stuff lately. But I'm like, I think that this
Can't
is I think we got a good vibe going here. I might need to do more research, or maybe I won't. I kind of like you just doing your thing, So I feel informed. I feel like
Tell
our
me this
opinions
is the
are out there.
hottest man you've ever seen.
What about
I'm
Yusuke?
ashamed.
What about Yusuke?
That's a different type of beautiful. Yusuke's not hot, he's beautiful.
Okay.
Well, he is a hot, but he's
He is-
beautiful first, and then he's hot.
He is a hot.
Jack is hot first. It matters in what order.
Okay.
Yusuke's beautiful first,
You can
which means I appreciate him inside and out.
you can give me the rules on that.
Mhm.
I would.
Next week we'll be coming back with people we're in love with. It will be more like a tier list.
Are we? I thought we were going to be doing about the ones that other people like but we don't like.
We can. I'll have to change my schedule.
I just didn't know what we were doing.
I had the other one scheduled in already.
Well,
I can
that
change it.
works.
You know,
Doesn't matter to me.
I'll tweet it so you know. I'll always tweet the day of what's going on. What's the plan?
What is our Twitter?
It's at the bottom of the screen. Medieval TV. Any closing thoughts, Evie? Before we roll, because I have been working on this PowerPoint for like a million years. I wonder if it tells you how long I've been editing this.
I worked on mine for like 2 hours.
I worked on mine for like 19 years. I've been working on it since 10:33 a.m. on and off.
I think yours had more humor than mine did. Mine was more being serious.
When it says 10:30, I think I only really got serious probably around here, because this one I had to stop and we exercised after. Yeah, so this is probably when I started by opening up my computer, and I think I finally started working on it around 3:47, so that makes more sense.
Sounds about right.
I was like, I haven't been working on this since 10. Would have to been not as good.
I think we covered a lot of ground and a lot of different things and a lot of different topics.
Yeah, I'd like to present this to my family. Mostly
Okay.
this first 3 slides.
Any more serious
I really
stuff?
can just go through the first 3 slides, and then we don't have to do the rest of the PowerPoint ever again.
You just like looking at this guy.
Yes,
Are
he
you-
is so aesthetically
I'm surprised
attractive.
you haven't gone looking at like fan things yet.
No, because I told you. He comes back in the other games and I don't know about them yet. So I don't want to see if he dies. What if he dies? I don't know. The whole purpose of these games is to kill all the characters. Because I only see him now. I know in the next game he gets fat, and that makes me sad. Because they're using him as a comedy relief character, I believe.
That's weird.
Or it's not really him. I don't know yet. I think it really is him, though. Look at him. So beautiful.
Well, if this character is half as liked as you said he was, then I'm sure the people weren't happy about that.
Look at this bottom one.
Yeah, that does look good, but I'm kind of living for the glasses on the top. I just like them, like, I can picture it being like, yeah, this would literally be, is the epitome of the
I can't look at these anymore.
It's just the epitome of the character you just, I'm gonna do this so we don't look so washed out.
I'm in love with him.
But
it's a momentary infatuation.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know. You went on it for a long
I'll
time.
just do this.
Well, because I'm trying to get so it doesn't reflect us off the screen.
It's okay, no, there's no, just turn the screen off.
But, I think that this has been informative, and this has been a good learning experience, and they know that we are now obsessed and have issues.
Yep.
But
So
what else
that-
is new?
That was that.
What else
I
is
had
new?
fun.
What are we doing Friday?
Friday we're doing whatever, I don't know.
I know what we're doing Friday. I was just wondering if you want to say it.
I don't know.
You keep working on Nights and Dreams.
Working on Night's Journey into Dreams.
I got all the C ranks for Will's story, which actually was
I'm
not
exhausted.
very hard at all, to be honest. It took way less time than I assumed it was going to.
So, this PowerPoint took me 19 years. I'm glad we got to share it with you guys. It was very fun. I'm excited for next Tuesday where we come back with another PowerPoint night.
If you missed the beginning part of this, which is where I described all my characters I love that everyone else hates,
The first hour
go look at the
and a half or
recording.
so is Evie's. And then mine took like 2 hours. Sorry. That was that. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed. See you Friday.